We're back for Summoning Insight, the show with me and Yamato Cannon, formerly Monte Cristo, but now it's me and Yamato Cannon. It's all right. By the way, I tell you what, let's do a little like State of the Union, take stock of the moment that we're in, Yamato, because I actually want to ask you, I don't know how many episodes we've done. I could have researched this. I'm going to guess off the top of my head, like 10 maybe? I think maybe about 10 sounds about right. I don't think we've done too many, but we haven't done like not that many. We've done at least, we've done easily over 5 or 6. I know that. So I'm going to say about 10. I think actually we've sort of found our groove down here. And I am actually saying this is a compliment actually. And also I don't blow smoke up people's arse or flatter them, if you know me. In fact, my style, if anything, is to sort of be a lovable arsehole who actually like ribs you and says something offensive, but then you go, that Thorin. At least that's what I pretend. Obviously, maybe you just go, but he's just too popular though. I've got to suppress it. No, yeah. Anyway, so the point is, I actually do think so far though, we're doing a good job. I actually think we've sort of gotten the vibe. Because it's like I messaged you when you asked me about how I wanted the show to go. I think we've actually done it, Yamato. I think we've simultaneously kept it this Summoning Insight. It does have the same vibe. We still cover all the regions like I did with Monty. We do the mix of like, if there's a tangent, we sort of do a pause and that can last however long it wants. You know, we can have our stories. But also at the same time, we mix like topical with historical relevance, etc. And look, you aren't Monte Cristo, but that's why I did tell you also, the whole premise was, my style as you tailor it to who is on the show. You go with their strengths and their thoughts. So I think we're doing a good job so far. I feel like if someone was an old Summoning Insight fan, as long as they're not only a Monty glazer, I'm sure they should be able to enjoy Summoning Insight now.
I wonder how many episodes in before until you stop mentioning Monty, you know?
Okay. A little bit insecure.
20, 30.
Episode. Okay. That's how it is. Okay.
No, I like the energy. Okay. We got Mr. Grumpy, we got Mr. Sunshine, you know, we balance each other out, you know. Okay. It's like a relationship archetype. I don't know if you know about relationship archetypes, but you know, that's if we were dating, that would be our relationship archetype. But instead we do it on the show, you know.
Okay.
Just Sunshine and Grumpy. Have you heard about this?
I mean, in this case, I'm like the fucking upset, you know, driven, dedicated winner. I'm willing to be disliked if it means I get to my goal. Yamato, I'm just doing the things that I want. You're just some Hiller-san guy, like, whatever. I'm just happy. Like, whoa, am I in? Am I out? Whoa, what's going on? Everyone loves me though, so forgive me for everything I did. I am that lovable character. Yeah, we've got that weird dynamic going. But here's the thing, Yamato. As long as in the end, this show ends up being like Lucian Nami in 2022, then it'll all work out because we'll run the game.
We'll take it.
Woven all together, all the references there.
I'll take the Hilly comparison. He was the best support in the world at some point. I in some fucked up way, I use that to stroke my ego. You comparing me to Hilly, so I'll take it.
By the way, we are actually going to now start the episode. And here's where I want to start. Because we, at the time of recording, if you're watching the VOD, we did this the moment that the Weibo versus BLG series ended. And all I'll say is, I don't know if they wanted to mention their names, so I won't for now. Tell me in the future if you do. I actually did have someone who's in the LPL scene who messaged me with a detail that actually must be talked about at the beginning of this episode, which is if no one knows, right, as we now talk about the LPL, BLG, the on paper, I would say it's like what everyone wishes was the best LPL team. They're actually not at the moment the best LPL team, hence why they're making a roster move for Jungle and some other things. But I think everyone feels like, because no one can believe in top esports, and I think the problem with anyone's legend is the names just aren't big enough for people to want them to be the number one team. So everyone secretly hopes BLG sort of get their shit together and do something like 90% of last year's team, basically. Like, just be really good and strong and have Night and Bane have a chance to beat the Koreans, etc. So everyone's so desperate for them to be good. Right, guys, this is how fucked the LPL is. Think about what I've talked about last week, where I was talking about how JDG themselves keep winning games, but they fired their coach, right? Yamato. BLG fired their coach mid-series in this last series. I was just told. What? That was the detail. I was just told by someone who knows about the LPL that during this series we just watched them win. They fired the coach in the middle of the series. Get the fuck out! And then they won the series. That's what I was told. Look, I can't confirm if it's true or not, but the person I'm telling me knows what they're talking about. That is unbelievable. But here's the problem, Gato. That feels so like something that could happen in the LPL. I believe it immediately with no evidence at all. Like, what do you think if that's true?
Holy shit. You know, like, I heard the rumblings of people calling for Maokai's head, you know. People were pissed and sick and tired of his shit, you know, because he went from top esports Like Tobias didn't succeed, right? They had issues as well. And then moving to Billy. Like I know the community was very fucking angry at him, but I didn't expect to get fired mid-series, bro. That's the most brutal, vicious shit ever.
Like, I can't confirm it, but when I'm looking even on Reddit, even Reddit knows, mate, they're saying like, holy shit, did they actually fire Maokai mid-series? Because it says he, I mean, obviously wasn't there for Game 3 draft, was he? So apparently people claim on Weibo that he is fired now. By the way, that is so nuts, especially because they did win the game. And look, with that said, Yamato, if we want to actually talk more about like BLG in the game, I will say right now, you know what? I don't know what it is about every different version of Weibo gaming. Because think about it, it's only Xiaohu that's still there, mate. They've cycled all the other players in and out. But every version of Weibo has this really fucked up thing where it never actually looks good. They never look like a clean team that wins good League of Legends. But every version of them is just like, they're so hard to actually like count out, mate. They're just like the ultimate underdog, like upset team in the LPL. Like, and it almost happened here. They almost fucking did it again and pulled out like the 2-1. So I don't even think this team for me, they'll never be a true contender to me, Yamato. I don't think they're even real. But I tell you what, they're fucking good at making it hard for the real contenders to win. Like they're sort of plucky about, they're kind of a bit scrappy. What do you think?
Oh, it's like, even this game 3 that was so losing off of the early game. Like I have a deep appreciation for any team in the LPL that manages to actually set the pacing of the game, because they almost came back when they like there was a situation where Kali's 2-0, they're losing on side, and then they were just playing in like an economy-driven game. They were baiting Akali TP out, and they were waiting for Xiaohu to reach Blade Ruin King. They find like appropriate fight timings, because usually like when you break down LPL, you watch it real time. It's like a lot of that shit just goes out the fucking window. You know, you talk about items, the spikes. This is what they're thinking about for the fight, and most times it's like, oh, okay. Let's just step into here and see what the fuck happens. Let's just swing our hands. And I think that aspect of Weibo in terms of how they like assess macro and they recognize win conditions, I think that you can kind of see a cohesive red line in what they do. But in this particular game, I think in the end, there was like that fight on mid that just kind of decided everything. And it was just like small mechanical differences. And that's the main thing about Billy, why we always say that we want him to get back, because we saw glimpses of that, right? We saw glimpses of Bin, we saw Knight on Akali. There's some champions who kind of want to see them on. And then they execute in the team fight. And then suddenly you realize, oh, the bigger names should eventually be better. I think Weibo, I think they keep a very, very solid floor in comparison to a lot of the other teams, especially in the recent weeks, because in the beginning, like when they were running it down, it was mostly just Xiaohu underperforming. And now I think that he's found form again. And now I think that their floor is pretty damn solid. And with the chaos of all the other teams, Billy in particular, because they just beat them like what 1 week ago.
It was
it was a couple of days ago, and then Billy just looked fucking chaotic. You don't know what the fuck you're having. I feel like Weibo is basically just the benchmark now if you want to be a good team or just a mediocre team.
No, by the way, it's one of the reasons why it's funny. I can tell the people who don't watch the LPL, because definitely Xiaohu's one of the players they think are just glaze. Because you have to understand, to a casual fan who doesn't watch the LPL, Xiaohu's just like the MSI guy, and then to them he's never done anything at Worlds, which by the way is not even true. If you go back to like season 7, it's he's really good in the RNG teams, the early ones. He's fucking unbelievable. But one thing I think is hilarious is, it's why I always say that thing that triggers the Faker fans, even though they don't get it's actually like a compliment, is Xiaohu is the Chinese Faker. Like, if you watch their games, these guys' teams, it doesn't matter what they do in like the first 20 minutes of a match. They're like unbelievably good at just closing out like a big game or getting some like big playoff or doing the correct like late to mid game move that just gets you back into one. Like, and these are the only guys in these teams that spots have. They've had every teammate cycled in and out. Like, it's just clearly coming from them. And I'm with you as well. The problem Xiaohu has is he's also like Faker in the sense of like, the first question is, what's his individual game like before we can even get to that part I just referenced? Because obviously the worse their laning is and the worse their individual game and champion pool are, the less times they're going to get to that point in the mid game where they can make the awesome move and do the kind of clutch play. So if people don't know, I'm with you. I actually thought Xiaohu started this year off ass, bro. He was having some mega mediocre games. And the problem is when he does that, it's easy to do. They're like, he's washed, write him off. But it's like, I've learned with truly great players like that, you can never totally write them off. You know, it might not be the case they can be the best every game, but there's always that glimpse comes out. Because I'm with you. But aside from that, though, the problem is you look at the rest of their roster, and it's an all right roster, but there's not really, it doesn't have the big superstar names. You know what I mean? You think about all the fucking, if you go on the other LPL like contenders, they have like 2 to 3 players each that could be like contender for best in the world in their position, like unbelievable player. This is more like a misfit group of players who are like, oh, they're good, but I just expect this to be more like you could do a dark horse run in the playoffs. I don't think you can go to MSI with this team. Do you think this team could have gone to MSI? Could they do a shock run in the playoffs? Do you believe it?
It's so tricky because especially in LPL, when you have in top lane role and also bot lane role, you have certain players that on form can compete to be like the best player in the position. And however this series, like this split is going to play out, you know that at the top you're going to have either a Bin or a 369, or the AD carry is going to be like Jackie Love or Elk. You know, you're going to have the usual suspects like show up there because one of these guys that have the capacity to reach such a high ceiling is going to. And until that happens, it's hard to imagine that Weibo is going to like push through. Because Breathe is also like insanely serviceable, insanely good.
Oh, sure.
And I think that they play with a very solid foundation. But I do think that when they're going to get to points where games are decided due to like some certain team fighting, they reach a certain point in the game where like a Nash fight is going to decide everything. There are certain players that I'm just going to favor because these elements about how to play out the macro and how to play out the early game, I think Weibo Gaming do it really well. But that is something that is teachable, learnable. This is something that teams can adjust to and learn over time. And knowing how LPL brackets always play out, you have like the fucking monster gauntlet. The teams that come through, they figure out so much about themselves. And when they do, I don't expect Weibo to be able to, withstand a team that finds the cohesion. Whether it's fucking Billy or IG or any of these teams with a couple of demons that can compete. I slipped in IG in there. I guess I have to say that JJ and MKOI, I don't think they cut it, but you know how it is with IG on this show. We gotta throw them in there where we can.
Yeah, the difference is, to contrast, we'll do that if you want. To contrast, at least Tian is also in that category of like truly all-time great player. Maybe they can get it together at the right week or two. They don't do it every week, but it's still a pretty good player. The difference is, though, JJ has been something of a fraud the whole time at IG, mate. It's like I say, at this point, I just get happy when he has a good game. Never mind, like, hating on. He's just had so many whack-ass games, mate. Him and Mako have actually just never turned up to this team for me. Mako especially, that breaks my heart, bro, because he was so good for so many years. And now he's like, I wouldn't say he's bad now, but he's just all right now. You know what I mean? I don't see that many games that look insane.
I would give, for me, I'm a bigger Mako hater than the JJ hater, man. I feel like it's like fucking on repeat when it comes to like how the games play out. I'm just waiting for Mako to give like the 3 gifts. He's like the fucking 3 wise men coming to visit fucking Jesus, with fucking gifts. Every time he gets caught in the same areas. I think if somebody created a heat map over where Mako dies, it's just his read on like tempo where everybody is. It just seems so damn off. It just kind of reminds me of like Mickey at his worst, like, oh, I'm putting vision here and I'm just dying, giving a freebie, and it just makes the games so difficult. But that's the beauty of IG, is because they have players that can figure out difficult. It's like Rookie and Gala, the amount of difficult situations they've managed to figure out has been fucking insane. Like with the highlight reel of what they presented, even this split has been crazy, but their games have absolutely like zero cohesion. But what's cool about IG and can be true also about some of the other LPL teams like Top Esports is that their confidence in their game seems to be unwavering. It doesn't matter if JJ, the Shy, or Mako runs it down a couple of times, they're still kind of approaching the game in a similar manner, which I think is super based. Weibo Gaming, on the other hand, or let's say like an Anyone's Legend, or even JDG, like if they get punched in the mouth, they seem to kind of lose themselves within the game. And I think IG, Top Esports, they have this archetype where, we don't really care. We're going to keep doing our thing and figure it out. I have to say, though, this series against Anyone's Legend, fair play to Anyone's Legend. They showcase that they can be clean as fuck, because they fucking, especially in that game 1, completely decimated IG, played a very calm and cohesive game, very beautifully played. But I have to say, there's something about just the Shy that just keeps driving me insane, because every time I say this guy has like he's had a great spring split, and then he just turns around, gets solo killed as Renekton like minute 4 and just loses the game against Anak completely. Or in this Jace game, I just know that he's going to get caught on side against Nafiri and the Sejuani. I just know it's going to happen, and that part of it is also rough. But IG is okay. Like IG is doing better than Winter. That's all we can ask for, man.
Yeah, I agree. I'll go on the last part first. I agree. It's definitely no panic stations. Like, if you look how flawed the LPL is right now, they're actually still just like within touching distance of being a team that could go to MSI. Like, the difference is, compared to Weibo, who only in these last few weeks has pulled out all these crazy 3-game series where are like right on the knife edge, IG actually has some series that look pretty good. They have the odd one that looks bad. I keep saying, by the way, I definitely agree. They're the ultimate like go next team. Like if it goes to shit in one game, they treat it like solo queue. They don't seem to, it doesn't carry over. But now that's for good and for bad, by the way. They can have an awesome game and then go next, and then the next game someone runs it down. But they do seem to just get to like game 3 the same way anyway. Like they're still mentally intact. But no, my problem is this: is I actually do think the saddest thing on that Mako topic is it's so different from every other team that he ever played for. Because, bro, if you remember Mako in all the versions of EDG, that's one of the reasons he like earned his status. It's not just the resume; it's that he's the only connective tissue in that whole EDG lineage. And EDG teams always had like pretty good macro. Actually, that was actually one of the better areas. Now, true, maybe people would say if you look how the players have played since they've like split ways, maybe in the latter days some of that was also Scout. It seems like he brings a bit of that to his teams, just his kind of like stable style of player. But I think Mako was definitely a big part of it, especially if you ever read interviews, they all build him as like this big captain figure. He hasn't done that at all in this team, bro. Like this team almost reminds me of, do you know the famous story where everyone in NA uses it to donk on Yellowstar when he joined TSM and then Double have flamed him? It was like, he's all shit in that. Yeah, but the part they don't mention about that is that supposedly when he joined, there's that the actual mistake in that story isn't on Yellowstar's part, it's on TSM's. It sounds to me, if you ever listen to all the interviews, like Reginald didn't do his due diligence, bro. He just heard like an actual meme of like a fat industrialist with puffing on a cigar in a dark room, like, bring me that guy over there. Like, you know, he's watching like Fnatic in season 5 or whatever, like go eating his, bring me a yellow star. But what he didn't bother to ask him for real, Yamato, is they didn't ask him like, well, do you actually want to be like the shot caller and the captain of this team? And supposedly when Yellowstar went to TSM, he didn't want to be. He actually just wanted to do like sort of one last year in the game, play for a top team and just be a support and just like have a normal match. So when he got there, they all expected him to come in like fucking shot calling all the games and coaching them. And supposedly he just sort of like, that's not what I'm here for. So as a result, all he had was just like kind of like a mediocre support player. I get this weird vibe like that about Mako, bro, because I thought he was going to like captain this whole team. And it's like, right, cool. If you're rookie, just play mid lane, bro. You don't have to worry about that. We got the guy to do that. It's the guy who captains all the teams. One, that hasn't happened. It's been very underwhelming. Like, if you took the nameplates off, I would never have known this was Mako. And then secondly, if you're good at micro, I can't be you that gets caught. I'm with you, Yamato. This is like, do you remember the end of fucking Mithy's playing career when he was on Origin in LEC, early days? And it's like, you are the macro god. How are you the one getting caught all the time and giving up the game? Like, that's in the review, surely you're turning to yourself and going, now, you see how you fucked up my game plan? They're like, what are we doing? And then also, the other thing is, I'm with you. Every time I try to give the Shy some fucking grace, a moment of respite, he just turns around and turbo into series. The problem is, Yamato, I've never seen a player, because there was a period in time I actually did think this was the best top laner ever. Like his height of the ceiling was so high, and he could do it against everyone, bro. He could do it against the best LPL players, the Koreans, everyone. But holy fuck, I have never seen ever a great player this irresponsible. Like people will say, like Hillesang wasn't at the fucking level of peak the Shy. Like the Shy was like the best player in the world or something at one point. He's so irresponsible, and at this point, Yamato, it's not like an accident. He has that like weird thing to him where he's just like a bad boy. I just don't think he gives a fuck. I think he has the ultimate like I don't give a fuck when he does it in the game, like, because he never looks like he has remorse, you know what I mean? I've never seen him ever in interviews, by the way, imply he thinks he's like the problem or something. This guy's just built this. He's like the fucking Korean Adam or something. It's never his fault, is it? The fuck?
Well, my story, the story I have in my brain is the only person that can make him care is Rookie, you know, like that's like my vision, you know, like I imagine. Imagine coaching this dude.
No.
It just seems like this is the type of person that will punish you if you want to get anything out of him. Because it's like, in terms of his image, it's like, this guy is unbenchable in China, you know? It's impossible to bench this guy. It's like they've just, you know, just smashed in all of the players with the biggest fucking popularity on that team. They just needed Jackie Love, and then they would have it, you know, that IG 2018 lineup. Of course, removing Baolan and Ning, they just have the most amount of popularity. I wonder if that's the aspect of it, you know, for Mako. Maybe he just fucking, you know, always was like the team captain in the teams that he worked with. Always like EDG did a good job of like scouting like the next talent and like bringing it to the team, because they always kind of brought up players from academy often. maybe he just joined this team and nobody gives a fuck about what he's saying.
Could also be that too. To be fair, by the way, I could even spin that into another coaching concept. This is where it's very different, by the way, for EDG to be your team and you're the captain and other people join your team. In this case, you're going to their team. Remember, like, IG's to shine rookies, mate. Like, and when you walk in that door, Yamato, it's different if I'm like the captain of like young scout and young players that are coming up, or definitely just coming from Korea. It's probably pretty intimidating to try and be like the leader of people like Rookie and the Shy. And also, by the way, imagine trying to be the captain of the Shy. What do you even say, bro? What do you even say? Like, how do you even... This motherfucker must be impervious to the classic coach's tool, the compliment sandwich. What possible compliments could you even give him in some of these games? Like, you tried, you're alive. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's insanity. There's not even... Some of these games, there's nothing you can even give him a compliment for. Just, please don't do it again. That's it. Please don't do it again. And also, I'll say this though, even though it's so predictable, I would say this. It is true. I do actually think of all the players in IG, Rookie actually has been the best player this split. If I had to like grade every performance, he also to me has had less extreme ups and downs. That's the other thing about Rookie. A lot of people don't seem to realize is. He also, and I think in history, was a very consistent player, actually. He wasn't the player that used to have, like the Shy, like carry the game, throw the game. It's like, nah, when he was at his best, he was actually the player that just gave you like an 8 out of 10 performance every game, it felt like. That's who the Rookie is to me. So he hasn't been quite that this split, but he's like IG, he's still pretty good. He still has like, every 4 games, there's one super carry game. There's one like, medium carry game. There's one not that great an impact game, but doesn't lose the game. And then there's maybe one int. It's more like you get sort of the spectrum with him.
I've been satisfied with Rookie for sure. I've been satisfied. Something we didn't talk about enough because you mentioned fucking the coach getting fired mid split. It's like the Beish one because I guess everyone's gonna wonder. It's like Billy. Is Billy saved? It's like, you always get these questions like, what is wrong with Billy? It's like sometimes players just play worse. It's like, don't point it out to me that these guys are like not playing any solo queue, like the Korean ladder, their solo queue accounts are empty, and that's also like a big indicator. Okay. But I have to say today, if you want to look for any like signs of life, any hints of life, I do think that in terms of changing one player, the psychological impact that can have on a team can extend far beyond just the jungle role. Like we saw that with even the insertion of like fucking Wei last split, or we even saw it where when I benched my boy Gilius, and we brought in Kikis. It wasn't necessarily that Kikis was so much better. It was just kind of changed the environment and kind of allowed everybody to reinvent themselves in a way, because sometimes when you start over for real, you can kind of reimagine the concepts and loop another person into them, so they kind of become reincarnated in a way. Because when you try to solve problems for so long, the structure of how you're playing becomes so wonky because the foundation of it isn't kind of real anymore. Because usually what happens in teams that are underperforming is that players forget what their purpose and their job is, and they try to overcorrect. And then energies are kind of pushed in different directions in terms of what the problem is, because everyone has a vision of how they can be the solution, when in some cases you just need to kind of wait. And when you have a new player coming in, you have that kind of fresh wind of air. You see, he has a version of his game, and now I can think about my own concepts again. I have to re-explain them, and just that dynamic change can go super, super long. But it's only one series. Based on what we saw today, I do think that we saw glimpses of like Knight playing good again. I think his Akali performance was pretty damn solid. I think that Bin as well. Like the weird thing for me about Billy, I think the most painful part, I think they're just waiting for Spirit Blossom to land. Because right now, in terms of what the top lane meta is, I feel like G2 is also having that same issue in terms of what the solo lane meta is. It's probably like the worst case scenario for somebody like Bin and Knight. So if you think about the most broken top laners right now, it's Ambessa. I don't think Bin looks too good on that. It's Jace. It's never been like Bin's go-to. And of course, Rumble as well. Rumble is always like the opening game. And I'm very skeptical always when I see Bin on Rumble. But then when it kind of trickles down beyond that, where there's like Renekton, Gwen, you see the same old Bin, no problem. Same thing for Knight. It's like in mid lane right now, it's like Azir, Talia, and then you have Yone, and of course Victor. These are not champions that you associate Knight with. You want him to be more dynamic. You want him to be able to slam an Ahri if it's open. blind. And I feel like G2 have the same issue. It's kind of a parallel there because it's like fucking BB as well. Doesn't fucking play any of these OP top laners. Doesn't want to play Gwen. Doesn't want to play Ambessa. Doesn't want to play Jace. Does it on occasion. But it seems like we see all those signals towards the meta not working for Bilibili solo lanes in particular. And I think now when the Spirit Blossom patch will land and everything becomes like a bot lane centric fight to death, I feel like that's where Bilibili look good. It's like whenever they have these Ezreal Karma matchups, Kalista matchups, I do see like signs of vintage Bilibili in terms of like setting up the dives and controlling the game. Just as we saw in that game 2 where they just win like 27-2 kills, completely annihilate Weibo Gaming. So I think if the Spirit Blossom patch should be Bilibili's savior, because hopefully some of these OP champions get phased out and everything becomes more streamlined in, of course, playing around bottom side, because still you can see clearly the strengths of these players when they are playing the right champions in the right conditions. And I think they just need to find that again, because, you know, as we know, Knightus, Azir, Knight Yon, these are like meme champs for him.
By the way, I actually do think, I think you've framed it well there. This isn't about, is Beishwan better than Wei? By the way, as an overall jungler, probably not. I mean, their careers reflect it. I even think if you look at the style of play, like Wei's a way more controlled player. Beishwan's sort of like what people think of as the old meme of the LPL jungler. It's just a really aggressive jungler that just plays 24/7 for the lane, seemingly. But actually, that I do think, Yamato, one, I'm with you. When things have been going as badly as they have, and by the way, they have been going badly. Like, they've had so many series they should have won, and that on paper they should have won easily. And then even when they win, mate, it's sometimes hard work on some of these fucking games. They'll have the odd game where they blow someone out the water, but then they'll have those games where it's like, why are you stuck in like a fucking 40-minute match with this shitter team that's not going to do anything? So if you have to make a change for the sake of a change, this is that. But also, to me, this is just a really cynical change in terms of like the stylistic difference. I can tell they just knew that the Wei styles it didn't work for them, mate. Like, this guy basically is like poor man's Jun. He's just going to go out there and go crazy. And also, what I love, Yamato, is if you know anything about Counter-Strike, this is so hilarious. Because they've done the Counter-Strike recruitment. One of the most famous ways you get signed to a better team in Counter-Strike, Yamato, is if you're an underdog type player or a smaller team, you go to like a qualifier or a LAN and you beat the bigger name team. And it's not that like that shows your skills and you get signed. The bigger name team just stupidly goes, wait a minute, he beat us. We should just sign him. Because if people don't know, this guy was on that Thunder Talk fucking team that actually beat BLG in the playoffs like last split. It was him and the fucking mid lane guy were the ones who did it basically. Like, it was ridiculous. So I think for real, it's like the BLG players just in their brain. Instead of just being like, yeah, actually we lost that, they were like, we should just have him. Like, can I have him? Like, okay. But of all, like I said, if you look at his profile, bearing in mind, if I think of their team, this is where actually, Yamato, I don't want a control type jungler if I've got this squad. If I've got demon solo laners, you know what? Maybe I do want fucking Chinese Malrang. You know what? Go for it, mates. Just fucking, whenever they tell you to come, fight. Just be aggressive. You've got the best solo to follow you up. Like, I actually think low key, I don't think it'll be a massive upgrade, but I think for the team, I think this is actually a good movement. I didn't hate it when I saw it. I know people would see the name and meme because he's in bad teams, but for what it might actually do for BLG, I don't hate the movement. I don't hate it.
I think like on a mechanical level, Beishwan definitely performs better. Like Wei, I don't know how he manages the pressure. Like I don't know what was going on. Like I can only imagine like in terms of how everything is managed internally and also externally. Like that basically the implication was that, oh, we wanted Shun and we stuck with Chu. Because it's like, there were moments where Wei was like, oh, this was a solid game from Wei. But then you have moments where he just fucking solo loses like the whole game, whether he overextends with Vi, did the same shit with Scanner. It's like already having a player that doesn't feel that fucking pressured to make something happen and do things, I think also just goes a long way. It just seems to be too much baggage in that dynamic. So I'm happy that they pulled the trigger and kind of moved from it. But it also brings me back.
I have a bigger question for you, though. I have a bigger question for you, which is this. Surely as a coach, I can get fucking something off you on this angle. Bro, think about this. So the order is they let the coaches replace the jungler, and before they even finish one series, you're fired. Like, surely I at least get to test this new roster, because there's two details here, Yamato. One, it just seems weird to let the coaches have some say in replacing them and then fire them. And then two, I also do think this is one thing I don't get, Yamato. Who's coming in to coach then? Because what I don't get is, unless the coach is like literally inhibiting the team, as in, they're having like a massive argument with someone, or people just like, I'll give you the obvious extenuating circumstances. If like I'm the owner and privately Ben and Knight came to me and were like, I literally can't play for this guy, he's ruining my game. Beyond something extreme like that, I also hate firings like this midway through, because it's like, you may as well just ride him till the end of MSI or something. Fucked it. See how he does in the playoffs, see if he goes to MSI, then fire him if you need to. But like doing it in the middle of the split, I think it's just whack, bro. It's like, I think that just somewhat sabotages you. Like, maybe every now and then a team miraculously does it without a coach, but it doesn't seem likely you're going to win without a fucking head coach.
Well, they kept Big Way, right? Who was their previous head coach? Like they I guess he is just going to be reinstated.
He's back again. Okay.
Like, we were great last year with you, so go back in. Like the Maokai hiring, like the EDG coaches, World's Winner 2021, like those two guys, Kenzu and fucking Maokai, they have gotten a lot of jobs on that fucking 2021 result, And
the joke is, based on that result now, the rest of the LPL agrees with me. It was obviously Scout and Mako doing all the macro. Because you're right, those two guys won Worlds, bro, and they get zero respect. In fact, they're memes. You know that. They're just memes, aren't they? They are. It's true. As
like Maokai, top esports, I guess it's just one of those things. I don't know if Billy is doing just the thing where they're like, oh, top esports were decent, let's get Maokai, and then like move without, like they basically, that analogy you did for Reginald about the guy with the fucking big cigar. Let's get that guy. And now they're just reinstating Big Way, I guess. And I guess they're just lucky that they have someone in place. But I'm with you fully. Like, it has to be to the point where the coach is legit like destructive being in that room, But at the same time, it's like I was benched, and and the reasoning was, in my team was, we want to give more room for someone else to step up as a leader. And that can happen too sometimes. So I don't want to go too hard on Mr. Maokai.
Also, the other thing I hate about this move as well is this is the thing I think is the most unfair in esports, particularly compared to normal sports. It's like, bro, it's very rare in normal sports they take like big name players and like bench them and just make you sit on the bench doing nothing. Like, what I hate is now if you're Way, you're in the Gumayusi smash spot. It's like whoever doesn't get to play just doesn't get to play League of Legends this year. You're just sat watching. That's what I hate. I almost wish, even though I know this doesn't make sense, it'd be unfair to the rest of the league. I almost wish if you get benched like this, there's like a special clause where like you can be sold to another team for cheaper or something. Because if I'm Way now, it's like I just have to play in the LPL too, but now I'm just going to sit and not do anything. And at this point in time, if they keep winning Yamato, it's not about whether he's better than Beishar. He'll just get scapegoated as he was the reason they lost. That was already, by the way, the dangerous game he was playing coming into this year. So the other guy, like literally the other guy who was in my spot was like a Reginald's hair from winning Worlds. And now I'm supposed to come back in. Well, at that point, I have to almost be able to win Worlds, don't I? Otherwise, I'm always going to look worse. So this is what you call in English the poison chalice, Yamato. Like, all he could have ever done was won everything or be blamed. Because you'd always, in your brain, you'll always be thinking of, but remember that Worlds run? You'll always be thinking that, what? Yeah. Because to be fair, like I always say, that is about the closest anyone's ever come to winning Worlds without winning it. It's fucking crazy how close they were, wasn't it?
Yeah. For sure. I don't envy Way. Apparently, like I read, or someone in my chat, I believe, I think I read from like one of the LPL insiders on Twitter that just like post all the information. It's like basically they removed everything, like all the promotional material from Way, like all his jersey, all that jazz. Wow. They just nuked it, They just like they put him.
Asian elite League of Legends orgs are like fucking Western female influencers. The second their boyfriend's gone, what do you mean? We were always at war with East Asia. I never had a boyfriend. Just instantly disappears from all the social media because when they do that thing, Yamato, where they're dating someone, there's all those lovely pictures and all. The second they break up, they just like remove all the pictures from their Instagram. It's like they just delete that guy from history, just retcon him out of history. What do you mean? I never had a boyfriend. Like that, as if like. I've heard, by the way, technically people say for the Zeus one in T1, they claim something like it's because like it's about his likeness rights, so they can't have him on the website anymore. But it's a bit convenient, isn't it? Though, like the second these guys leave, you just delete them from history. They don't exist. Crazy idea. Just make a page called like alumni or something where you celebrate the great players who used to. I think that would be cool. But instead, we're all just being petty. So now Way just didn't exist. Brilliant. Except, well, the joke is we've got Way, but only Big Way. We don't have normal Way. He's gone. Way, a different player entirely. Also, stop calling him fucking Way. What's that even mean? What's it even mean?
Thank God they didn't get Weiwei, bro, because Weiwei is also on a horrible career trajectory, getting fucking benched on LNG. As there's only one way left, and that's Big Way.
And even that guy Wayward was shit. So
Oh, yeah.
everyone called Way is a fraud except this one guy. Yeah, exactly. Only Big Way. Only he lives up to it. Only his name deserves to be remain. Also, they should just have to have a fight, and then whoever wins gets to keep the name Way. Change it already. Change it.
Well, I imagine Big Way, just based off his name, that he wins. Like this weight class. But he doesn't look that big. I don't know why.
It's probably
he's
ironic,
Big Way.
isn't it? Maybe they're doing that thing, to be fair, because this is like a silly like British culture thing. In Britain, people will do weird things, mate, where they're like, it's called Johnny Two Hats. Like, why? Because he never wears a hat. Like, that'll be like the gag. Like, what? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're like weird, like, don't quite make sense. Yeah, exactly. People just do like a weird, like I can't, it's not even ironic. It's just like a weird, well, I guess it is a bit ironic. It's just like a weird fucking way to have like an angle on someone. I'm with you. Those are shit names anyway. I have a bigger question though about BLG, which is this. I'm asking this every 2 weeks till the split ends. Can they actually win the split? And part of the reason I'm asking you, Otto, normally it's just to see your opinion. I actually just ask myself this question every time I watch them play. Because like I say, there's moments where I really do go, they're back. They've still got it. They can still do this. Like there's some games, like as it's just a demon. I'm like, this, they could beat anyone. But then, like I say, it's always in the same series. I watch the other game. I'm like, what am I doing? This fucking get out of my face. It's a waste of my time. So where are you at on BLG?
Because it's like, to reframe the question, is the question, can Billy beat anyone's legend and top esports at the end of the season? And honestly, I think with Spirit Blossom, I can see it, bro. I can easily picture it, man. Bro, with the grub changes, no more swaps, no more macro, just fucking beautiful fucking laning, you know, all the way to 8 minutes. I do think this could be a very, very good thing for Billy. I think the main thing for top esports, what makes him so different this year, is that I think that Crisp is like a very, very good laner. And I think the pairing Crisp Jackie Love is going to make things a little bit competitive. But I can definitely see a world where it happens. I think it's unlikely because of how the bracket will play out and their position in it, and knowing that top esports anyone's legend is going to be most likely the ones that get a buy all to top 4. But if Billy make it to that top 4, bro, that means that they have defeated the teams along the way. It's like going through that gauntlet run, I think is such a big benefit for most of these teams. Weibo is known for making that run. Billy, Bin himself made that run. Billy in the past, but when Tabe joined in that playoff run where they qualified to, of course, MSI that one spring. It's like that gauntlet run can be very, very nutritious and healthy. And I think on the other side, like a team like Anyone's Legend, this is the type of team that you want to get all those repetitions under the belt when it comes to the BO5s and building that experience. So maybe... To quote Thorin Three Finger, he, you know, maybe it's a poison chalice to be in the fucking top 2, you know, because you skip all these BO5s. So I can see the copy mango for Billy. I can see it with the Spirit Blossom, bro.
I have to say, though, from watching the whole split, I came to the conclusion very early on, because one thing I'm capable of doing that a lot of people don't want to do in League of Legends is, just because you don't want something to be true doesn't mean it isn't true. So here's the thing, I'm with you all. I understand. Even I've given up on Jackie Love internationally. I've seen it happen too many times. It's fucking whack out top eSport, but they are the best LPL team. They just are. I mean, even this series where like, oh, I was back and forth with JDG. For JDG, it's a good team. Like, here's the key thing is this, Yamato, and this is no small feat in the LPL. You can say some of the games in top eSports look messy every now and then, or they have a bad game, but the key thing is they win the games, mate. They actually close the games and win them, and they have the games sometimes where they do just like they're just the best team in the whole way through the game. Like I know why people have their reservations, but at least in the LPL you have to give it up to top 8. They're just a really good team, mate. They're actually an excellent team.
For sure, their games are very strange because like if you just like there's so many game positions where you think that there's no way they're winning, but they win anyway. Like there's some kind of fight. You know, goal distribution, suddenly fucking Cream on Tristana jumps in and quadra kills, and then the game is over after they suffered for a very long time. I honestly, like, I've come around this idea that considering the roster, there's details that are like different, considering Crisp is there, Kanavi's there, the coach, Home is there as well. I'm slowly getting to the point where I give so little fucks about First Stand due to the issues of the tournament and what they had to face, that I am slowly getting to the point where I can get high for Topisos at an international.
Okay. Basically, Yamato's doing the LPL fan version of like what T1 fans do, where they're like, I don't really care about the LCK anymore. I only care about Worlds. Now he's just like, wait a minute, it would be a real you're right, Thorin, it would be a real problem if this team's the best LPL team, but they were shit at first stand. What if I just didn't care about first stand anymore? Yeah, that solves my problem entirely. Actually, they're a great team. Brilliant. Like, fuck it. Listen, you made it work in your brain. You resolved the equation. Well done. Okay.
The issue is, bro, even if I'm right, even Topis was on their best day. It's not going to beat How Life and Genji. So that's it's like, they're going to, my prediction is if Topis was making to MSI, they're going to smoke North America, the one team that goes, and the 2 European teams. They're not going to drop any games against Western teams. And they're going to be remotely competitive against the Korean teams. That's my prediction.
I know what you mean. Like right now, I can't be crazy and predict that actually will do what I've hoped for the last few years and just be the best team and just win the tournament. But I'm with you. At a minimum, what I will accept is this. Just beat everyone except LCK. I'm with you. If you could come third and look good, because by the way, I actually think in a way BLG did this last year. Everyone was before Worlds, everyone was talking so much shit on BLG, and I always wanted to tell them, like, they came second at MSI, right? Like, yeah, they weren't as good as Gen G, but no one was. Like, no one could play Gen G at that point in time. So I think people forget, like, that team fucking, they were dusting off T1, for fuck's sake. And G2, just put them in the bin. Like, that was legit. So no, that's all I want for top esports. Basically, just give me something comparable to what you do now in the LPL, and I'll allow you, then you may die. Then you may be allowed to die as the city of the LPL burns. Yeah, then I'm cool with it. Because the other sad thing about their team is, this is why they'll always torture me as well, Yamato. You think of the players they have in their team, the highs you can have with players like Kanavi, Cream, Jackie. Bro, these are players capable of the highest skill level players in League of Legends. Like, it's why it's actually, in some ways, here's the other reason why Yamato, if they do a good run at MSI, it will fix everything. Because then at least I can sort of ride with them. I can at least hope that they could be good at Worlds. Because I want so badly to. I actually think the actual potential of this team is incredible. Like, this team could be fucking amazing. It's just obviously, it's still, unless you do what you did, just delete it all from your brain. It is still just saved into my memory how they played it. Like, mate, when they lost that series to fucking Carmine Corp, I was like, oh, I can't, please. I can't do this.
But you do agree that it was Mickey Mouse tournament, no? No elements that were Mickey Mouse.
It was. It's like I tell people, if anything, the most jarring thing about First Stand is when it makes you realize, like, actually, the old MSI was shit. Like, I wasn't that big a fan anyway, but it makes you realize it compared to what we have now, it was so whack. Because, by the way, when we have MSI and Worlds, this tournament's going to feel like nothing First Stand. People will even forget it barely even happened, bro. In fact, in some ways, it's probably better for that they kept Fearless all year in that sense. If it had only been Fearless, I think it would be completely written off, bro. I think if people would actually say after this split, then MSI, they'd go, oh, first part of the year doesn't count. That was just like experimental. And, it was like, who cares about winter results? Who cares about First Stand? It's only because it's the same league all year that people can vaguely pretend otherwise. Also, it does help to write it off. That was when they'd first started fucking with all the patches and stuff. So the game did also get a bit weird after that. We're not really playing, like, remember the first split before MSI, before First Stand was the fucking lane swaps. Like, wasn't even vaguely like this. Like, it's totally different League of Legends now, right?
See, you're coming closer and closer to my position here, Thorin. You see it. It's something we need to mention as well, because I have to always re-explain this on stream. The fucking Nirvana group. We now have a team that is completely out of the rest of the year.
Oh yeah,
no spring, no summer. DK, former DK support, World Champion attendee, Moham.
Attendee, how dare you? He did go to Worlds, so it's true. He was there with Leaving, true.
Fucking Moham and OMG failed to succeed. So these guys are just jobless for the rest of the year. Brutal, vicious, but I can't say undeserved and understandable, because LPL have way too many teams. And OMG is, what a fall from grace. From being Dom's favorite team to whatever the fuck they are now.
Yamato. It's only the 2nd of May. How can they be done for the whole of 2025, bro? That's so insane, isn't it? I know. It's so insane.
Shit.
Bro, what is this format? Like, well, as of the 2nd of May, you are no longer playing in the league. What? What am I even here for then? What is this? It's mental, isn't it? I know. I'll never get used to that. It's too nuts.
And then RNG is most likely just are going to join them because of just their score line. They are also playing against EDG that is like considerably better than them.
That's going to hurt my soul so much. You mean fucking Milky Ways doesn't even get to play League of Legends anymore, bro? What? Please, come on.
And apparently as well, we read in that line, you know, from what, like the leak of what is going on with his contract, that apparently if he's not actively playing, he doesn't get paid. Not that he gets paid
even
now
better.
anyway.
Right, okay.
But you don't get paid if you're not actively playing. So everyone on RNG is just benched, homeless, payless. Like, it's just a fucking disaster.
That's how you know, Yamato, that, like, bearing in mind the LEC is based in fucking... In fact, actually, same with LTA. Since LEC is based in Germany, which if people don't know have very strong labour laws, and actually the LTA was based in California, which also has very strong labour laws, one thing people will never understand is it's a different world in other countries, bro. Like, I can tell you right now, you might think to yourself, surely that can't be true what Yamato said. Surely you can never have a contract, which on the one hand, you're trapped in the contract. You have to stay there and not play League of Legends. But then also, they don't even have to pay you to be trapped in the contract. Like, oh, no, welcome. That I could totally believe that's plausible in China, bro. Like, I'm sorry, I don't imagine that's like a crazy idea. I even imagine to them it's logical. Like, well, yeah, I own you, but you're not playing, so why would I pay you? It's like, well, can I go play somewhere else? No, you're under contract with me. So it's like, all right, cool, brilliant, I guess. Oh, thanks. And it's like a 10-year contract as well. What the fuck is that? Why is anyone signing 10-year contracts? What is that?
Bro, that's just the LDL leverage, bro. Like, what they make these players in LDL do is fucking inhumane, man. It's messed up. You know, just to add as well, it's like from RNG side, because I had the pledge of boot camping with them, and they gave us like the fucking red carpet treatment when we were in China back in 2019. We were there, like we had an event with them and so forth, and they took care of us, showed us around China, they showed us like the fucking office building they had in Shanghai, which is like a 8-story building branded with RNG, the golden, and you all enter the lobby, it's just a fucking altar for Uzi, you know, all his trophies, all his medals, and then on each floor there's just a different esports. They just have like fucking maybe 300 players, and then the next thing we fly over we take a train to Beijing, and they built their arena there, and that arena like apparently it costs like fucking hundreds of millions to build, especially because in Beijing, apparently like some of these other arenas in some like cities, they give you subsidies because they want to like invite that tourism, and they want to like help you. There's a kind of a cooperation between the cities and of course the teams that want to build arenas, because we're gonna sponsor you this amount of money, you build the arena here, you're going to attract tourism and so forth, we're gonna have like build restaurants around there, whatever, and that type of thing. But in Beijing, they don't give a fuck. They didn't give you any money. You want to build something here, bro? This is fucking Beijing. You have to fucking build it yourself. I just point this out because in contrast, for most like Western viewers that know like, the Sword Art contract that ruined TSM, or like the Huni contracts that ruined everything, bro. There is levels of that are incomparable of what is going on in China in terms of like the arena building and all of these legacy organizations that thought they really had something great and couldn't really build something new, because all of the other orgs now that are the biggest one, like Bilibili, JDG, or like Weibo, like these are like just fucking companies. These are big ass fucking billion-dollar companies that are just behind these teams. So it's very, very different in comparison to these EDG, RNG, the legacy orgs that just had investment, and then suddenly it's like, we are not fucking getting a return on this. The market downturn, fuck off, and then boom, no more RNG, no more EDG.
By the way, I've got an update. I've got an update on the coach situation. Okay. If you check in here, it's claimed by one of the like Chinese insider, like LPL mega fan people, that he hasn't actually been fired. He was just subbed out, Yamato. And even more ludicrous, they're like they're claiming that like, this sort of substitution will be normal in the future. Like, so we'll wait and see on that one. Who knows what that means? Maybe it turns out this is nonsense. He was fired. Maybe he really was. Maybe they told him like, just go cool off, man. And then he had like someone else did game 3 or whatever. We'll see though. We'll see. I will say, if he isn't fired, if people don't know, if you haven't been following like the Chinese scene, almost every fucking game BLG plays, all the fans ask for Maokai to be fired, by the way. Like that. That's like a very popular sentiment, by the way. Like, it's nuts.
It's absolutely mental that the guy, at least like he's in the press conference. I'm looking at the picture. That's Maokai with the microphone.
Yeah,
like,
I think so.
It's crazy. Did he just get asked the question by the journalist? It's like, so where the fuck did you go? It's like, we thought it made sense. Like when I was in game 2 draft, then Easyum prepped game 3 draft, so we just sent him up there. Like that doesn't make any fucking sense.
Make any sense at all. I know. The worst thing is that that almost, if you don't think about it, Yamato, that sounds like it makes sense until you actually think it through, and it makes no sense at all, does it? Like by their logic, Yamato, like in like Gen G, they're fucking up by having the same coach prepare all the drafts. Like, what are you talking about, you losers? Of course not. There's just one coach does it all. I'm not buying that for 1 second. That's the worst thing, Yamato. Is like, I always say this, what really gives people away isn't even what the crime they're accused of doing or what you say they did. It's when they try to explain why they did it. If the explanation sounds shit, you just think, oh, you're just guilty, aren't you? Like, it's like if you give a bad alibi, like, oh, you just did it then, didn't you? Like, if it's totally implausible, like, this doesn't even sound vaguely plausible. Like, I could believe this, Yamato. I could believe he was like soft fired, as in something happened and someone else, like maybe the big wig guy told him, like, get the fuck out, I'll do game 3 or something. And then, after the match, when it turns out they've won, remember, that's a key detail too, Yamato. They did end up winning the series. After he's won, maybe they realized, like, one, like, fuck, it's pretty insane to fire your coach mid-series. And then also, two, this is going to be bad PR. Like, what are we going to do in the press conference now when they ask where the coach was? So this sounds like the story that you put together in the 30 seconds before someone has to go out there, Yamato. Like, fuck, what are we going to say? I don't shit. Tell you what, we'll say that you were preparing the other game's draft and that this is like a new thing that we're totally doing. Whatever. It's just bollocks, though, isn't it? It's just some political bullshit to get through the day. Like, I don't believe this one. Spoiler, everyone who's a fan of this show, tune in to the next BLG game and let's see who prepares each of the drafts. Because I predict it'll just be one person myself and he'll be on stage for them all. But we'll see. We'll see if what they say is true.
It would be so fucking funny, bro. If like the BO5s come and they're just switching coaches between every game, it would be so hilarious. I would think that's fucking crazy.
The problem is, Yamato, even if it's not true, they should almost do it just to like keep up appearances at this point in time and make it look like that, right? Like just to get away with the line.
That's fucking Weekend at Bernie's Maokai. It's like, he's still coaching. We just want you swapping out coaches. No, it's that's a crazy fucking idea, man. I know that's a crazy one. I don't know if you saw.
Go on. Yeah, go on.
It's a random tangent, but I don't know if you saw like the whole fucking the chess charity thing.
Yes, the Dr. Lupo thing.
Because it made me think about like all the fucking bullshit lies he went through before. It was like,
the maddest part of that story, if people don't know, with this famous Dr. Lupo guy, it's alleged cheated in a charity stream. And even worse, he didn't just cheat. It appears he just used like a fucking chess engine to get all the best moves and just did them on stream and the fucking thing because he was losing. Like, the reason why this is actually mental to me, Yamato, the problem with any topic to do with famous people or streamers is you constantly run into the problem of people having parasocial connections to them, where, like I say, they treat them like it's their brother or their fucking dad you're talking about. But it's just a random person on the internet that we all just watch every now and then on Twitch, right? So the biggest problem you have is this. That is presented at the end of the story, Yamato, as like, he cheated, but then he says he's sorry. And it's like, whoa, that's not the story at all. If he cheated, it's way worse, because he cheated, and then, like you say, everything he said immediately got like countered, and he just kept like walking the lies like gradually back until it's only at the very end that he sort of just like, I don't even know if at the end he did fully admit it, but basically everything he said was like, he was like initially like, all right, maybe I did do something. Oh, chat was just telling me what to do. Oh, maybe chat was telling me and then people like proved everything was a lie in theory. And at the end, it was just sort of like, oh, well, sorry, I guess. And then all his fans were like, see, give the guy a break. It's like, he's done about 5 things wrong in a row and he's trying to cover it up, you fuck. By the way, I hope people understand, just like in the real world of crime, if you then like fuck with the investigation and try to cover the crime up, that is a crime too. That gets you a bigger sentence. They don't go, well, they make it sound like that. You know, that weird saying that Americans actually have. I don't know if you know this is actually a real American sports culture saying, Yamato. It goes, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. Because their take is sort of like, this is where, but I can tell you, this is where British people and Americans are very different, Yamato. In England, you probably know this from Premier League football. You know, there's a famous tradition in Premier League football that if I'm playing your team and someone on your team gets injured, then you kick the ball out so that the trainer can come and deal with your guy. In English football, the tradition is, even though now it would be my throwing because you kicked it out, I just give it back to you because it was only because of an injury that your guy went out. That's actually called like fair play and sportsmanship. That's actually like an unwritten rule of the Premier League, basically, which, by the way, they don't do in all the other countries. In America, they have the opposite logic. And if you've ever seen American sports, you'll know this. Imagine if in football, in football, you get the odd notorious, even Ronaldo did this, they dive for the penalty. Imagine if every single time the striker died for the penalty. He never attempted a shot. That's what American sports is like, bro. Their mentality is like, you should just push the boundaries and it's up to the ref if he calls it or not. So like, this is more like that. This is like some American shit where it's like, his logic basically is, I'm not going to like turn myself in. You have to catch me and prove I did it. Which, look, in a way, but it means you're a fucked up person, in my opinion. Like, you're just a dishonest person, aren't you? And also, cheating in a charity tournament. Bro, that's like taking steroids to beat like disabled basketball players, you lunatic. You're not only taking steroids, you're doing it to beat disabled people. Like, what are you doing? It doesn't even make sense, does it? It's just mental. It's like that story that sadly isn't true, Yamato, even though I wish so badly it was. You know that famous story, apparently, even though now it sounds plausible, there was one of those famous like apocryphal stories where people said that Kanye West, have you ever heard this? Where they said when he played against like disabled kids in basketball and then he scored like 105 points or something, which even though apparently it isn't true, I wish so badly it was true because it sounds like the most Kanye story of all time, doesn't it? It does.
Yes,
it does.
I fucking love this meme. You know, it's just like, just for the homies that don't know like the whole story. It's like he was playing 600 rated against someone that was 1300 rated. He hung his queen, was like crying about it for a solid 2 minutes. And then basically he just played like perfect moves that nobody would find. Like absolutely like not even Magnus Carlsen would find these moves. Right. And then it's like, on chess.com, there's like a review service like that just shows you how many like good moves, how many blunders you did. And it's like it just shows up. It's like you did 3 fantastic moves, 17 excellent moves. It was like the game was like, wow, it was the greatest game of all time. And then he tried to paint the story as if he had like some fucking Slumdog Millionaire moment where fucking he just found the moves. And then the craziest thing, I don't know if you saw this, but he was on call with the guy who he beat.
Okay.
And then basically said, yeah, I don't know, people are saying that I cheated, but it's not like people are spamming in chat, people are spamming your chat. And the other guy was super nice about it. He's like, yeah, don't worry about it, you know, it happens, I don't really care. But he just said to his face, it's like, I was just having a really good game. It was absolutely fucking, you know, it's just crazy. Like the fact that you had the arrogance to think.
Yamato. That is the worst part, is because to actually cheat in that way implies you don't know enough about chess to know how obvious that is. That's the worst part about it, isn't it? Because if you think about it, one of the things I can't handle like that, this is why you can tell you're a noob, is because everyone in the modern day, I don't even know that much about chess myself, but I know that everyone uses those engines, and that crucially, they use the engine to review the game too. Because if you remember, this is tangential, but it's why that other guy who's a way better player, that Hans Niemann's guy, was in so much trouble. You know, the one who people claimed did the anal beads or whatever the fuck, even though that was obviously like a meme, wasn't it? Because if people don't know, the real problem that guy had wasn't even just the idea of like, oh my God, you beat like Magnus Carlsen or whatever. It was that when people reviewed his game, Yamato, he had a game that would have had like an ELO that would be like one of the greatest players games like ever played in the history of chess. Like his ELO for one of these games, mate, was like rated higher than like prime Bobby Fischer or some shit from like like the GOAT of the game or whatever. Like, so the idea that you did that if you weren't actually that good is obviously ludicrous. And in this particular case, at least that guy's like a pro level chess player. This guy's just a fucking Twitch streamer. And as you say, it's like, oh, well, like, I will just do the meme where I try now. Perfect move. Like, give me a break. Let's get the fuck out. Let's get the fuck out. There's no way, bro. There's no way.
No, it's like,
anyway.
I just wanted to add, like, just on the Hans Niemann thing, because I think people got angry at him in particular because he had history of being caught cheating.
Yeah, true.
And that was like, that's the craziest aspect of this, is that everyone's looking now at what this Dr. Lupo Call of Duty streamer and Tarkov streamer, they're looking at everything now through that lens.
Oh,
you know?
To see if he did something before.
Yeah.
Right.
Because basically, like I also read that there is this thing called XIMs that basically you can plug a keyboard and mouse to consoles, and then like your accuracy becomes like so much better because these XIMs come with like scripts as well. So basically, like on console, all shooters basically have auto aim like built into it, like a soft auto aim, and then you have that with fucking keyboard and mouse, and you're fucking smurfing your face off.
Right, I see what you mean.
Apparently, there's like a lot of things that everyone's putting everything into question now. Kind of similar to that whole like pirate software thing. It's like, oh, you do one bad thing, people are gonna fucking comb through your whole life now, you know?
If people don't know what Yamato means by that, what he means is obviously on the games that the FPS that are on console, the reason why they actually even have the mild auto aim is because it's too hard to aim with joysticks and controllers compared to a mouse and keyboard. So essentially the logic is if we're all on like a controller, so that everyone in the FPS isn't just missing constantly, if you just get close enough, it's sort of like, it's almost like if you're using Photoshop, you know, like in certain programs or Windows, it'll snap to a line. It's like that. It just snaps on like a pixel over. But obviously, as you're saying, if you could have a mouse and keyboard and auto aim, you'd be like unbeatable, wouldn't you? Because you'd just be permanently like, the crosshair would always be just going to the head all the time on like Call of Duty, I assume. No, I see what you mean on that one. That is hilarious though, that like essentially, because he fucked around in a stupid chess charity tournament, they're doing like an audit of his entire career. Like, that's actually hilarious, bro. But I agree with you. If you're going to cheat under those circumstances, it's almost deserved, mate. You deserve to have your life turned upside down. You're going to be a prick like that. What's the point? It's a fucking charity tournament, you idiot. The fuck? It's mad, isn't it? I know. It's not like Lance Armstrong was allegedly abusing all those drugs and steroids to win the fucking father-son fat sack race at school, was it? Like, he was doing it to win the fucking Tour de France. I might have to think of that for a second. The bicycle thing with going up the hills with the French woman going, la, 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 whatever, then you go past. You shut the fuck up, bitch. Anyway, whatever. Maybe he doesn't like her. It might be misogynistic. I don't know. He's a cheater anyway, so I'm auditing his whole career. Maybe
that was Lance talking, okay.
Yeah, I would never say something like that to an old woman, an old French woman. I'd be respectful. I'd go, bonjour, mademoiselle. And then I'd keep going. That'd be me.
Nice.
Not
You're so
cheating.
polite, Thorin. Nice.
I'd never cheat. Also, I'll just tell you right now, I'll never cheat and use steroids because apparently it shrinks your balls up. And I've got massive balls, mate. That's an essential part of my character, some would say. If I was an LPL player, my alias would be massive balls.
Nice. We
Not
need to
big
get
way,
someone to
massive balls,
translate that to Chinese.
Yeah.
You know? So, massive balls, Lila. You know, it's just fucking, he's coming.
I can't even handle that. Dom actually just say that all the time. I'm saying like, la la, like,
Bro, I do the same, bro. It's too contagious. I do the same now.
It's pretty good. I can't lie.
It's the same. It's just,
True.
It's very infectious.
It is
I can't
business.
unhear it.
I can't lie.
Yeah.
True. It's the same as if you ever do. You know this. If you're around Koreans enough, initially when you hear them say, oh, shibal, you go like, that's weird. But there's something addictive about like the tone of how they say it. You know what I mean? Like, oh, shibal. You start just saying it yourself, mate. It just becomes part of your life. Once you shibal, you can't go back, basically. You never go back. You know?
Yeah.
It's too good. It's just better than saying fuck or something, isn't it? It's way better.
100%. I'm with you. It's also like the same wavelength on the curva. You know, it's like you drop the first curva, you fucking Bwipo is saying curva mas all the time.
And what they always appreciated is the real secret to the curva is how many R's you can roll. Like, you know, you can fuck up curva. That's just nothing. If you do that one, that's fucking. It's when that R just starts rolling over. That's when the pole is absolutely raged off his tits. I love that. Love that moment.
Well
said. And again, Yamato, remember, did actually coach Selfmade, so he has certainly heard that word said in every possible context.
I coached a full Polish roster, bro.
Oh, yeah, sure.
With fucking Steve in it. And Nuktak. And Nuktak also dropped his fair share of curvas, so it's all good.
True that.
Where do we go now, Thorin?
I mean, we've basically done. Oh, yeah. But to be fair, the one thing we didn't really talk about more in depth, we'll do that a little bit, is what about anyone's legend then? Because the problem I have is this, Yamato. It's like I say almost every week. My issue with them is they are a very good team. Like, at worst, put it this way, even at worst, they're probably the third best LPL team. They might even be top two. Like, they kind of prove it with the results. The problem I always have is it's like they always come just one step short of me being able to just crown them. Because, you know, in theory, if they actually are as good as their record says, they could be the best team. But I just don't know if I actually believe they can be the best. Like, put it this way, this is the team I do get worried about. Just like last split, I worry that they could beat anyone in the early portion of the playoffs. But if you put them in the final or the low bracket final, that's where I feel like they would lose to a BLG, a top E. That's where I get a bit more worried. So where you at on anyone's legend right now?
But no, I feel the same way. I think that they had like very two statement series after that JDG like blunder. That series was fucking awful. But happens. That's the LPL, I guess.
Sure.
You know, sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit. Yeah, that's just the LPL moniker right now. I like the big thing for me is just in the double round robin. I want to see them against Bilibili again. I want to see them against Top Esports again. Like those are like the crucial matchups for me. They played them like very early on in the split. That was basically like the first three matches they played was like IG, Bilibili, and Top Esports. The rematches can maybe allow me to buy in a little bit more because I do see like some signs of Shanks and Hope like breaking their mechanical ceilings. I think the meta is also good for Shanks. He's like maybe the only player together with Scout that is like willing and capable to play Azir. So that's like a very, very good plus. I do feel like macro-wise and in terms of like setting the pace and like team cohesion, jungle and support being on the same page, Anyone's Legend is like the best in that aspect, but still same concerns as you. Like how far will they actually go when the other teams begin to catch up conceptually? But the main thing for me is just the next matchup. So let's see how they play against Top Esports. Billy again. I'm looking forward to that.
We've talked about this previously, so I won't belabor the point. But the other thing I would also say, as being as we're on like the second part of the round robin now, is, bro, I will in the same way as I will always love watching this MSI format we have now. Mate, this LPL format is a fucking chef's kiss. Because as soon as you get to this portion with the fucking Ascend group or whatever it's called, bro, remember LPL's every day, and I'm not joking, guys. Almost every single day there is a best of 3 where you're like, that's a marquee matchup because the whole group's just marquee teams, isn't it? Like and some days, by the way, you for real just get like just 2 banger series. Like if you love high level, like skilled league, this is the best league in the world to watch. It's dope. Even LCK has its time where it's like, this is the 1 week where, you know, the matchups are slightly off, or you have to hope so crazy, like, you know, fucking KT Roaster beats like Handball Life or something. It's never gonna happen. But the LPL right now, this group cooks, bro. It's actually really enjoyable. I love this format. I think it's dope.
No, I'm with you. I also like that they just put like all the. I'm very happy that the Nirvana group is only single round robin, and also they just they just drop them on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, first series, fuck off, you know, and then they follow up with a banger always, because you know the only maybe slightly annoying aspect is that these fucking 1v1s. I'm so fucking tired of these 1v1s already. Because like they just take much as like, at least when I'm watching live, like they take up so much time, and a lot of these teams just don't fucking take them serious. Like the other day, fucking On was playing Kiana in the 1v1. Like what the fuck are we doing here, On? You know, fucking get your shit together, you know, play something serious, or fucking send in bin, you know, it's fucking side select. Considering it's double round robin, there could have been a world where they just give side select to one team one time. But I think I respect that the TO made a decision and said that at the beginning of the year, that this is how we're going to do it, and they're sticking to it. They're not just changing it because you know, the crowd doesn't like something, because I think that's competitive integrity.
Oh yeah, by the way, I'll also throw that out there too. That's another reason it's insane that BLG has all these losses. Bro, they have a format now where you 1v1 for side select. You should fucking win every single time. That should basically be like the BLG rule that just gives you the fucking side select every single time. Like, surely you have the most OP advantage of anyone. You have the most demon time 1v1 players in the league. It's nuts, isn't it?
No, just send it On. You just send On and let them play Kiana. Like, that shit fucking drove me insane, by the way.
No, well, that's one of those examples where people are trying to be like too like on some commie bullshit. Like, we're all equal. Hey, it's your turn. It's no turns. It's always been you, idiot. Get him in the server now. Get in the fucking server and win that 1v1, you rat. Anyway, that's how
that's just coaching. The Billy way, bro. Yeah, like every coach gets to do one draft.
Oh, you know what?
I've
realized how I can join the haters in BLG. If Maokai decided that On was the one who went for the 1v1, fire him. Fire that guy immediately. Get a new coach in, even if it's someone else. What does Big Way think Spin is good? He sounds like the man for the job. Get him in. Get him in now. I approve. Move on. Because here's the thing, Yamato. In some ways, when it comes to this LPL format, you could say, even when we're sat at home, we're eating good.
Oh, damn. Yes, we're eating good. Not only with our eyes, because obviously you eat with all senses.
Yeah.
We eat in every possible aspect of life. We eat good. And of course, it starts with what's in the fridge. And right now, what I have in the fridge, Thorin, is factor meals. You know, I am lucky, you know, my fiance cooks for me every now and then, but I'm a big guy. I need to eat a lot. And when I need to take care of myself, I tell you, Thorin, I can't. Before factor meals came into my life and I had meal prep ready to go, you know, just easy peasy, I would always just eat yogurts or whatever I could just eat, you know, anything simple, anything fast, because I can't cook for shit. Right. And with factor meals, bro, I guess even gotten to the point that, you know, I took factor meals and I presented it on a plate. And I just pretended that I cooked, and nobody knew. Nobody knew. Okay. It's like I read the ingredient list. It's like, oh, there's some good stuff. And then I just memorized it. It's like, oh, I made these green beans with the steak, and then there's a garlic butter, and then you have a sweet potato mash here on the side. And it's like, oh, look at that. My man cooked. No, I didn't. I popped it in the microwave for 2 minutes. It arrived a couple of days ago. It keeps fresh, and it tastes like it's fucking homemade. my end too. And I've tried to cook. It's not that I don't know how to cook and I've like, not succeeded. Sure, I've succeeded a couple of times. I make a mean risotto, but the time investment to get food done is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
You have to go to the shop. You have to get to the recipe. Always when you open a damn recipe, I don't know. And you get their life story. They put in like their whole life journal before you get to scroll down to the ingredient list. And then it's a bunch of like these nuanced ingredients, like 1 tablespoon of cinnamon. It's like, what the fuck?
Yes,
I'm supposed to buy this whole dunk of fucking cinnamon because I'm fucking making a little fucking sauce. As like crazy talk. You don't need none of that, And then finally you get home, you cook the meal, it takes 2-3 hours because you don't know what the hell you do, and you figure out this new recipe, and then you just eat it. Takes you 5 minutes to eat it, and then it's like the benefit of it all, the cost of it all in terms of time, in terms of money, doesn't make any sense. So factor meals, you can get your nutrition easily done. There's keto meals, there's protein heavy meals. You can tailor it to, of course, your liking, because everybody, likes different meals. It's very, very extremely subjective, and they support that. You can make your choices and make sure that your nutrition is giga sharp. Thorin, you need to help me out though, because I don't have the code. Where's the code at?
Through that, the code is LFN50 off.
LFN50 off. That's crazy that they give 50 off on the first box. You can order it now. LFN50 off. Just go into Factor and drop that code. You need to do it right now. It has changed my life. It's going to change your life too. I think the bang for the buck in terms of time is money, all that jazz, super worth it. I was always skeptical about meals that you have in your fridge and just pop them in the microwave. I always thought that's like the last cursed thing you should do on the list. I associate that with, some guy that sat on the sofa, 3 a.m., couldn't sleep, drank energy drinks, just, crazy vibes, completely fucked over. No. This is the future, man. Factor Meals, get it now. LFN50 off. Use the code. Factor Meals has been carrying me for a very long time. You go do it too.
Yeah, I will say, even though, by the way, I do enjoy cooking, another thing that I think is underrated, especially, by the way, if you're either someone who games a lot, so your time's being used on playing, and you don't want to waste time in between, or if you just work a lot in your day, you just don't have a lot of mental energy. The one downside of cooking to me, because it can be its own hobby and its own pleasure, is I actually find an underrated aspect, I don't know about you, is if there's ever a time pressure, that's what I don't like, Yamato. Like, I'll give you an example. Say you have something to do in 45 minutes or half an hour, and in theory you could cook something in like 25 minutes. Yeah, but the pressure of doing it like that's going to make the experience not very fun. Like, you're going to feel like you're watching the clock all the time, or checking like, oh, can I take it out early? Like, you want to be able to do it. Like in this scenario, it's way nicer if you just put some food in. It's done in like 2 minutes, and then it's just all ready. It's all properly cooked, and it's all the flavors are as they. You haven't like rushed one thing or made the sauce quickly or just eyeballed it like, fuck it, that much will do. And I'm with you, definitely, by the way. The most underrated detail I always tell people is like the little spices and herbs and stuff, because I'm not my grandma. I don't have 50 fucking spice things in the spice rack with all things. Like you, I would have to go to the shop and buy a whole thing and then be like, when the fuck am I ever going to use that again? So the best thing is they just give you all that portioned out in little baggies, etc. So you know exactly how much to use. It makes it easy. It does. And as he said there, shout out to everyone who uses it. It is factormeals.com/LFN50 off with the code LFN50 off. Easy to remember. And obviously it's for 50%, isn't it? Right. Let's talk some more. So there's actually a thing that I thought as a more like general thing we could bring up, Yamato, which I've no doubt you saw this because everyone saw it and everyone commented on it. I'm going to pull it up now. I think it's on LOL Esports Twitter. It's where they did. I will say, you know what? Do you want to know something really sad about being an esports journalist, Yamato? Is the actual standards to be an esports journalist are so impossibly low that, like, when people say, like, turning up is half the battle, that's almost like what it takes to be an esports journalist, bro. Because you probably saw this, I'll link it down here, where they did this poll of the best series of all time, the best of 5 in LOL esports history.
Oh, shit, I missed it.
But here's the problem. So don't worry, we're going to do the classic Summon Insight. Like, you're going to be Monty. We're going to rage at how pleb all the takes are and how they're all from the modern day. But there's one detail everyone missed here, Yamato, which is, if you're a journalist, one thing you do before you react is you get your facts right. One detail people didn't notice is this. If you actually read what the tweet text says, not the image, it does say, we asked in the LOL Esports WhatsApp community. Now, Yamato, I have been around esports a long time. I've been around League of Legends the whole time, and I'm from Britain. We use WhatsApp all the time. Are you ready? That's the first moment I discovered there is a WhatsApp League of Legends community. Like, we all heard this. I've never heard of this, mate. So my first question actually is, who the fuck's in this WhatsApp group? Like, what are you talking about, you mentalist? That may as well say, like, hey, we just took a poll in our old AOL Instant Messenger group chat. Like, who's in it? I've never heard of it. What are you talking? So that already put me off. But now we'll do the normal reaction. So obviously the main thing here, Yamato, is, let's be fair at the beginning. I understand not everyone has watched all of esports history. League of Legends has been going a long time now, mate. Like, remember, it started like realistically, competitively, it was like 2012 is when I think it properly started. You had some tons before that, but that's when it started cooking. So it's been like, we're talking like 13 plus years at this point in time. So I don't expect most people to have seen a lot of the series. With that said, though, I think the most obvious thing to start out with is this. This poll is just crazy recency bias. Like, spoiler, they actually vote the last Worlds final the best match ever played. It was certainly a good one. And by the way, it was one of the better finals of Worlds. But the idea that is the best of 5 played, like, no chance. Zero chance. Zero. Come on.
Yeah, it's weird because it's like, it depends on like what fucking metrics you go with, right? Okay. I like in terms of, because I can buy the T1 Billy one. Like, there's some fucking egregious ones here in my mind, like the fucking Genji Fly one. Like, well, how the fuck did that creep in? You know, how the fuck did that creep in here at all? You know, like the SKT versus Rox, I think is a base one. I think it's crazy that EDG versus T1 MSI final is not here at all, because that's like, to me, like one of the best BO5s of all time.
I mean, you will notice they're nearly all just Worlds playoff games, mate. Like, there's no LPL and LCK don't exist apparently. Like, that's another thing blowing my mind. Like, surely we all saw that, mate. We even had like that fucking spring final last year. It was pretty good. Like, in LCK, well, that doesn't exist. We're all pretending we have to go. Because by the way, some of the games that they have put on here, these don't even deserve the reputation, bro. IG versus KT. What? That was us. That was the one that was almost 3-0. Yeah, ended up being 5 games and was like excited. But that was almost a 3-0. That wasn't even that good a series. What? There's some weird. I agree on the Gen G one. The Gen G one was them just playing badly and FlyQuest almost beating them. By the way, almost. Does this mean if we did this poll in 2020, they would have put Misfits almost beating T1 as like the best fucking series of all time? I feel like they would. Do you know what's sad? Here's the most cynical thing I could ever say and how cruel I'm going to be. This just reads like, we asked a pleb person, can you name any best of 5? Because these are just the most obvious fucking ones. By the way, the idea DRX versus T1 from 2022 Worlds is the second best BO5 ever played. Get the fuck out. There's no chance.
Honestly, bro, that one is a chance. Come on, man.
Even Kingham wouldn't say that. No, even
bro, in terms of entertainment, because that's the main thing, right? It's like, what the fuck is the metric? Is
like hype is a big factor for you?
Because it's like this one, not for me, but that's why I can see it, you know? Because I do think, like, if in 20 years, that's going to be like really remembered, you know, just because fucking DRX managed to beat T1 in a final, like underdog story, all that jazz. Like, in terms of skill, I do think Billy T1 is up there. So those are like acceptable to me. Those are acceptable. But some that are missing are unacceptable. And like Genji Fly being here is crazy. EDG versus Damwon, I think that's a fake 5-game series too. I didn't fucking like that one. DRX versus EDG.
I'll tell you a really bad one. It's 4th on the list. T1 versus JDG semi-final.
Oh, that's crazy.
That wasn't even very good. That was like 4 games. It wasn't even very good. There was like, what, 2 good games in the whole series? What the fuck?
We're fucking flanking Ash missing, you know? Like,
that's what, bro, that is what haters T1 fans are. That they're going to vote that dog shit series. Like, this is the 4th best of all time. Get the fuck out. No way.
Bro, I'm still shocked about it. It's a fucking WhatsApp group. Like, bro, this WhatsApp group is where fucking Trump's cabinet, they reveal fucking war secrets here too, bro. Like, fucking WhatsApp group. What's happening, bro? I didn't even know they have a community feature, bro. What is that?
I've never heard of this in my life, bro. I've never heard of it. Is it like the joke is, it's like, and is this LOL WhatsApp group in the room with us now? It's like, it sounds like you just made it up. Like, it sounds like someone at LOL Esports you might have just wanted to make up rage bits. They were like, just say it's from like WhatsApp or something. Like, what are you talking about? What? Can someone actually genuinely listen? I know on Telegram you can have like big groups and stuff. I didn't even know there were public groups on WhatsApp. Is that a real thing? By the way, are we secretly missing something? There's like a whole LEC community on WhatsApp. Someone tell us in chat now. Is that a real thing that we're just not aware exists?
Well, it sounds like some Vice documentary. It's like we try to find the underground civilization. It's just a bunch of people like living in the pipes, you know, like fucking trading in fucking old glass bottles or some shit. That's the WhatsApp community, man. Oh man.
That's mental.
That's crazy.
That is actually
yeah.
mental, bro.
That made my day. That's fucking hilarious.
That's nuts. And also, as a general rule, by the way, they have just tried to pick any series that went 5 games. If it just went 5 games, you had a chance to make this list instantly. You know what I mean? It's nonsense. Absolute nonsense. But anyway, what I will say, though, I won't do a Monty and promise we'll do it. But I'll say I am thinking about this. As I said on Twitter, since I knew, by the way, this is exactly the sort of bait that could bring... You know, Monty's off doing all the fucking business deal. Like, hello, sir, can I talk to you? He's like a fucking Jehovah's Witness, mate. Doc, can I tell you about the good news about LFN? Like, and they're like, get the fuck out. It's like, oh, sorry, next door. Hello, would you like to sponsor a podcast with Jamada on? Jamada who? Never mind. Knock. Anyway, you get the point. So the only thing at this point in time, like catnip, that could draw Monty back is outrage against stupid fans. And you know what? You guys have done it. I think I'm going to somehow, I don't know when, it might have to be the off season, but I'm going to try and actually do one of those episodes where like me and Monty, I don't know who the third person will be. I don't know if Yamato wants to do it. We'll have to see. It'll have to be someone obviously who watched a lot of League of Legends. I want to do this for real, this exercise. I want to actually sit down. Look, we haven't got time to watch all the series, so we're going to have to go a little bit off memory. But the thing you'd have to do this well is before you do the show, you'd need to do like a couple of short lists that you could all compare, and then you'd have to do the show like arguing, you know, which series you like and what. But I do think if you did this right, it'd be an amazing piece of content, mate. If you actually did like what are the like 10 best of 5s ever played or something, and you actually included people watch the LPL and the LCK, because by the way, there's some banger LPL games. Like I saw Dom say it on Twitter, but he's totally right. This is where people's memories are just non-existent. I said I can forgive someone, Yamato, if they didn't watch like a series in 2013. Bro, it was only 2023 summer when JDG, the unbeatable JDG, was having those 5-game pure bangers with fucking LNG. Remember the one where it was Scout and Tarzan? Like, those were fucking gangster series. That was only like a year and a half ago, guys, and everyone's forgotten about it already. Like, come on. And like I said, there's definitely been loads of LCK series that were unbelievable, by the way. Like, where are all those ones? Like, some of those should definitely be on this list.
Even as simple as the fucking first final Quaker ever won. Like,
oh, for sure.
Like, already there. Like, the fact that this is not even mentioned is like crazy. That's crazy.
No, I even think if you've never watched that game, look, it's not going to age as well now because obviously the mechanics are going to look shit. But the reason why that series was even super hype is because those two teams were perfectly evenly matched at the time. Neither of them were champions yet. And if you ever watch it, they both sort of play to their strengths. Like, by the way, KT wins the first 2 games. They're looking awesome. It's a fucking sick series. And that really is the moment where I actually think that series of all... There's 2 moments that year that I think changed the entire history of League of Legends Yamato. There's Game 5 in that series because you imagine to yourself, what if KT had won? Because if you don't know, if KT won, they would have gone to Worlds. Like T1 probably would have still come through the gauntlet. But if KT goes to Worlds, by the way, maybe they win Worlds. Maybe they come top 2 at Worlds. That would change everything. Ryu, all those people. But then the other one is the very same year at Worlds. If you remember that semi-finals where T1 played Najin, people forget this. Faker has to make like a god like Orianna play, otherwise they would have lost that series. Like, I think it was Orianna. I don't think it was Ari. I'm thinking. I think it was Orianna who did the plan in Game 5. But anyway, I always thought if they lost any of these Game 5s, everything could be different, man. That's like the domino that changes that butterfly effect moment, you know, that changes it all. But anyway, I thought I'd bring it up because I'll tease the fact that I do think this sort of content isn't easy to do. Like, I don't blame fans if they're just thinking for 5 seconds for just voting for something stupid. Like here's the difference. I'm with you. I can forgive sort of DRX versus T1. I will never forgive voting Gen G versus FlyQuest. Yeah. That is so egregious. No, it's like, guys, you didn't get the upset. You're making it like, I can't even say because you're a FlyQuest fan that's fair. That's nonsense. Like, this is fucking bollocks. But I understand that it's hard to do a piece of content like this, but I would like to do it though. I do think this would be a really cool thing to do, like the real, like, here's the 10 series to go and watch in the history of League of Legends. I think that would be dope. Especially because you also sort of need people who've been around a long time to be able to even tell you those. Like that's why I have to say, like, I would even go to like some of my LPL expert friends and ask them, do you have any that I'm not remembering? Like, was there a really good IG, RNG one I need to put in there? You know, there'll be a few that'll be bangers. But it's an example of where, like, the idea is good, the execution just wasn't very good, but also it's just fans in it. And is it even fans, or is it just an imaginary WhatsApp group that no one's ever heard of? WhatsApp!
It's Pete Hexet, bro. It's Pete Hexet. This is his list, bro.
Next week, like, hey, we asked the Hinge LTA group who they think is the most fuckable face of all the LTA players. All right. You win, I guess. I can't verify it, but you just win, right? Okay, cool. See ya.
It's provocative, Thorin.
Exactly.
It gets the people going.
Yes. That's what people say about my career. Right. Let's talk about LCK, bro. Because I tell you what, LCK delivers for me, mate. I find this league's actually, I'm falling in love with the LCK again. Before, I've always said the last few years, I just like the top teams. I don't really care about anyone else. Mate, this field has fucking gotten way more spicy. Like we talked about it a couple of weeks ago, Yamato. Bro, you cannot fucking look past Nongshim. Like I was saying a couple of weeks ago, look, I wouldn't really have said they're better than T1. Mate, it's getting on the line now. Like they're not a bad team, mate. They are not a fucking bad team in this game. Like, and then same with D+. D+ is like right there to beating all these top teams. Like this league is fucking spicy. It's weird because what's funny is it's one of the only splits ever where KT is completely irrelevant, but it doesn't matter. Somehow we've still got loads of teams that can actually win matches and like relevant. It's fucking kind of fun.
No, my Nongshim take aged fucking beautifully. They fucking got the win against DK. That was fucking cool to see because it was like very, very honest. Like Nongshim now with Calyx in the pool, bro. Like they're just a fucking completely different team. Like Calyx is a fucking superstar. Like he's insanely good. Even today against Hanwha Life, like he was fucking competitive. It's like that game that they almost won against HLE. You know, that's the shit that fucking happens. That's HLE. You know, they can find fucking wins out of nowhere. And Calyx found really, really good angles. Very decisive in his play. And I think that there's a clear like line of thinking in terms of how they approach the game, how they choose their fights, how they progress, how they pressure the leads. I feel like Lehens as well as a player together with Kingen, they have found like new highs individually, which is super cool to see. Like the fact that the weakest player on this team is Jiu, considering, you know, the previous split and so forth. It's like a very, very big blessing. It's like Jiu is a decent player. It's just that it just happens to be that, as you mentioned yourself, it's like fucking LCK right now is really stacked, and especially in the AD carry position, because we have old names, new names that are absolutely insane. So it's like LCK all over the place. Really, really fucking cool to watch. Nongshim, like the main thing for me is it's like how much can T1 figure out about themselves, and in regards to their potential ceiling. I can see a world where they are just better than DK for the rest of the split and maybe for the rest of the season. Because the main issue for me with DK in contrast to this team, it's like I believe way more in Lehens than I ever will believe in Beryl. It's like Beryl might do some cool things and it's funny to laugh when he fucking dies, you know, and he fucking griefs, but how far is that gonna take you, you know? It's like when you play against teams that get a little bit more serious, and especially now with Nongshim being like a very, very well-rounded team, I do think that they will have a hard time like catching up. It's like they have Siwu, Lucid, really fucking insane mechanical players, but as we proceed, you're going to get tested on fucking all aspects of your game. Like you can't get away with some big flaws. Not even T1 can get away with having flaws against weaker teams. Like T1 lost against fucking Bro. Losing against DNF is close to impossible. I think that's like the biggest disappointment of fucking this league now. It's like that this team is even there, because I think that's like the one matchup for everybody that you just assume is going to be like pointless. They're 0-9 now. They just completed the round robin of losing, while every other team just has something going on for them in terms of like the progression, whether it's like DRX with Lazyfield and UCal coming back from LPL, or like Bro now with Closer and Hambach like popping off, and Hype being like a decent player. It's like cool to see that LCK are willing to give chances to some of these guys that seem to be tearing up in, of course, LCK CL as well. I think that's like a massive plus, and I'm happy to see it. Like the fact that DRX did so well in CL, I think they're 8-2, and they brought up Anvil and Lazyfield together just to shake things up and to make a difference. Like they benched fucking Teddy, you know? And they took that stance and they came out against Bro and had a very, very good series. So across the board, like I'm with you, fucking LCK is super, super fun to watch.
By the way, on the Nongshim Lehens point, it actually does make me, this last year and a half, does make me recontextualize his career. Because if you remember 2 years ago in the summer, when KT had that amazing run and they were #1 and he got given MVP, I remember at the time I was like, surely anyone accept him? Like, but give it to BDD, he was like Smurfing, Keen was awesome at the time. You look at all the players, Aiming was having a fucking carry game. You think to yourself back then, like, why Lehens? But the theory I heard at the time was, apparently everyone in Korea thought he was like the mastermind and credited him for that win. I'll tell you what, mate, I can sort of see it now. Like, I actually sort of low-key get it, because if you look at their squad, mate, between like being on that team of KT, which was #1 in Korea when he was there, then he went to Gen G. That Gen G was fucking sick. Like, yes, he sometimes would choke internationally, but one, he didn't at MSI, and that was the period where they were like unbeaten. That team, sadly, because they didn't win Worlds, will never be in like one of those top 10 teams of all time. It should be, mate. That was an unbelievably good team. So, and now I look at this squad, the names on this one are nowhere compared to those last two teams. And again, they're a quality team. Like, this guy clearly does have some sort of like captain aspect, shot caller aspect. Like, he understands macro in this game, mate, clearly. This guy's a legit player.
Basically, how the average normie describes Battle is basically Lehens. It's like Lehens has the creativity, he has the wildness, and he also makes every team his own look fucking damn good. Like this is legit as fuck. Battle fucking phones it in 80% of the time. Like I am very, very elitist when it comes to this. Like, I care about your fucking overall volume. And if you handpick any fucking game from Battle's career, the odds are you're gonna find a fucking dirty stinker. Like, it's a very, very high chance. And for Lehens, like, he has a fucking record on him, and it's cool to see that he finds fucking new highs. Like, in this game, like, he seemed fucking unapologetic about who he is as well. Like, he didn't change how he played against HLE. They like tried to find the dives in game one, and then it didn't work. And they realized, we're in a losing position. We need to keep going. And I don't care that he went fucking 1-8 on the leads. That was what you needed to do when you're behind that game. And in that fucking second game, like, the Alistar flanks that he found were absolutely nuts. Like, he was outplaying Viper out of all people, and he did it in a way that was insanely impressive. I'm a super big fan of Lehens. I'm happy to see, that both the World Finals champion and the MSI Finals champion, that they're still doing well, and now with the addition of Calix, to fucking believe that they had him on the bench.
Oh, it's nuts,
and Fisher was playing. Like, that's fucking crazy to think about. It makes me like maybe more inclined to watch a lot more of the challenges, because a lot of these fucking players are coming through. We also have, of course, Loki and Thanatos and Saint over in LTA. Like, they're just churning out fucking giga talent.
Also, by the way, I think you nailed it there. That's actually almost a good standard to do. The problem when people think about people's careers is they just look at like the high points of the trophies. If you were to, because I actually do think it's like the Aristotle quote that people, whether it's apocryphal or not, that like excellence is a habit. That's a great metric. If you want to ask who's the greatest player of all time, here's why you could put people like Chovy in that mix. If I said to you, here's a database of every Chovy game ever played, and now what I'm going to do is the database, I'm going to press shuffle, and it's going to randomly pick 3 games from Chovy's career. Bro, he would have a chance to be the best player ever. Like, you think about what random 3 games could. But I agree with you. That's a great metric for Beryl, though, because Beryl's resume looks unbelievable, mate. But I'm with you. If I was to pick 3 randomized games, bro, I could get some really bad games in that mix. Like, I could have 1 or 2 where I'm like, I'm sure this is the right guy. This guy won Worlds. Like, no way. Like, I know what you mean. That's a pretty good metric, actually. It's pretty good. That's good. I like it. What about
I've had these conversations about Beryl so many times. No, go ahead.
Of course. No, I always say with Beryl, that's an example of a player where I'm actually very fair as an analyst. Look, I don't fuck with Beryl's game. I don't like it. I like players that are really consistent and like their style is very defined and they make smart decisions. He has a lot of like randomness in his game, or he just does impulsive things, I think. But here's the thing, if you actually do accomplish things, I'll always give you the credit for accomplishing things. Like even on some of the shit teams, he is a good like X factor. Tell you what, if you want to put someone on like an upset team to have a random chance to win, even does it in D+ now, this is not a bad player to have. The difference is, though, if we contrast him with Lehens' levels above for me. Lehens is his one problem is he's just had some bad Worlds. Aside from that, he's a very good support player. And now suddenly he's even got a really strong body of work for his whole career because of all the teams he's been in. So no, here's what I thought we would do. We've done it every week because, spoiler, they're the most famous team in the world of League of Legends. Bro, if we were ever going to talk about T1, we have to do it again this week. We have to do it again this week because, like, think about. I'll tell you what hasn't aged well. When we were doing the Nongshim conversation, where most of what we said actually applied to now, or we were talking about BLG and these teams, mate, the problem with the T1 is we were too generous. Like, I actually thought myself, look, okay, they could lose to Gen G. They could lose to Hanwell Live. You know what? If the right game happens, they could lose to D+. By the way, it almost happened right after that. They could lose to D+, or maybe that game was just before we did the match. I can't remember. No, it was after. It was after. So they almost lost to DK. That's true. That seems, by the way, end of that game, must watch. Go watch the last 15 minutes of T1 D+, the game 3. It is cinema. It is absolutely. If you haven't seen what happens, even if you know who wins, just watch it anyway. It will blow your mind. Put it this way, it's even better than that like fanatic fucking MKOI ending. If you saw that one, it's better than that even. It's nuts. But I never thought there was a world. I know they lost to Fear X, but that was the outlier to me. There was no world where they're losing to Bro. There's no way they're losing to Frederick Brion. Well, they're actually called OK Savings Bank Brion now, but you know what I mean? Like, bro, this is really fucking bad. This is panic stations now. And then they're still doing it, Yamato. They still do that thing where every win or loss, they make some weird comment about the roster again and Gumayusi and all that. Like, here's one thing I don't understand. So Gumayusi, in his own interview statement after that match, said something like, I'm playing at 30 to 40% of my level. Am I missing something, Yamato? That sounds like you should be benched. You said it yourself. What are we doing here? Remember, the whole conspiracy, Yamato, is Guma's like tied up in a fucking basement somewhere, not allowed to scrim, and they're just like, hey, another plate of pineapple, Mr. Smash. And they're like, this is so unfair. Then Guma plays himself like, yeah, I'm just sort of like less than a third as good as I used to be. Well, get you the fuck out the server then. Get out. Because I'm worried about this T1 now, mate. Like, we memed before. Bro, there's not that many actual fucking, like, remember, only 2 teams go to MSI. This is fucking rough, bro. No, it's only 1. Sorry, it's 1 actually. No, it's 2. It's 2.
It's 2, yeah. LTA have that problem.
As of right this moment, mate, it is, I was thinking of LTA. As of right this moment, it is not going to be T1, mate. It is just not. They're not going to MSI it like this.
It seems really, really impossible. You know, it's sad because it's like the whole Smash thing. It seemed almost like basically the fans were speculating because Smash no longer played solo queue as account. That basically like he took a break for purposes like a burnout. That's also like a very, very sad thing to consider that because he didn't fucking deserve any of this fucking shit that he's been going through this entire fucking year.
Do you think they mean from stress, not like playing the game? You think it's just like too much pressure on him?
Yeah, because that's just what my like I'm just speculating. I'm underlining it by speculating because it's like the amount of shit that he's been fucking under as well for no fucking reason besides playing good, you know, and being like a rookie. It's like there was no point of like the idea of nurturing him, and he's been like kind of being pulled apart about this whole situation and not having any kind of fucking consistency or knowing what the fuck you're facing towards. I can imagine that you know the strain of that must be fucking impossible. You know, it's like you bring somebody new in and he's performing well. Like what the fuck else should he do? You know, like I don't envy that position, and I feel bad for the guy. Like I hope that he can figure it out and find his stride again, whether it's in CL and so forth. Because T1 seem to now, in their language, they are basically committing fully to Gumayusi. So I imagine for the rest of spring minimum, they're going to play with him all the way. Now on the gameplay front, bro, if there was ever, you know, like in the context, I agree with Gumayusi. My man's playing at 30% because you know, the main issue for me is you can see in these games, especially those fucking game 3 fucking Lucian lock-ins, even though Lucian has a place, Lucian Brom answered the misfortune, we see a little bit more and more Lucian. There's certain, like that game 3 against Bro, to just lock in Lucian in that pocket, where you already kind of fucked yourself over, where you highlight, you know, you're trying to band-aid so many fucking problems at the same time by slamming Sion Vega 1-2 and then picking Galio 3 because all of Faker's champions are out. Like this is like the fucking struggle, because that's in that composition you need to be able to go 4-5 and slam fucking Zeri Lulu because it's the only way to save the comp. And then you end up on Alice solution and it just doesn't bring enough fucking firepower. And in Fearless, this is just Gumayushi's worst nightmare. He is out of form. He was always a player that played few champions, was insanely deadly on them, but now in these game 3s, we see him landing on Lucian in cases where it's not good. And you can't expect Doran and fucking Faker to put the fucking, you know, pick up the slack. That's just not what their identity is. So that game 3 against Bro really encapsulates every fucking aspect of the problem, because they try to put my guy Viego, you know, they try to put Owner on a carry, but it isn't so simple. The pieces around you need to fucking make sense. And in the past, we saw that problem with T1, where they had like fucking Twisted Fate, Vayne, Top, Lucian, Nami. It's like, what the fuck is happening here? And then they need to take a step back and realize, oh, Owner, Faker, you guys need to fucking play champions that offer us CC and create space, because Zeus is not going to do it and Korea is not going to fucking do it. And on this team, I don't know who is going to put on carry pants after Azir is out of the pool, Varus out of the pool, Victor out of the pool, because it just seems to be like a very 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 kind of like a lineup of champions that Faker goes to. Is Salia open? No, I pick Azir. Is Azir open? Oh, I pick Victor. And then after that, that's where it gets murky. And when it gets murky, you need to allow Faker to play what the fuck he wants, because that's who he is at that point. You don't expect Faker to fucking change 12 years into his career. While the AD carry position, that's where you have flexibility. So I don't know how they deal with this problem. Because you compare that to the other two teams that are most likely going to MSI. It's like Ruler doesn't have this problem. Viper doesn't have this problem. Zeus and Keen definitely don't have these problems.
No.
And Chovy Zeka definitely don't either. So it's like in terms of their distribution of like where it works and where it makes sense, that's a very, very tricky one. But I think the copium angle for all of these former teams that were good last year and shit now, same as Billy, maybe the copium angle for T1 is Spirit Blossom. Because then Keria can play all the range supports and play full on lane again. Maybe Spirit Blossom is just created specifically to save all the teams that gave them such high viewership in the World Finals last year. Billy and T1.
Also, if you're a Guma fan, you can complain about the result or some theory about how much he scrims, but bro, they're giving him all his champions. Like, he's the guy picking out his old fucking Lucian and Jinx and like shit, like, and getting Caitlyn every time again. These are all Guma champions. Like, that's what I don't get. Is like, if they're giving him a chance, they're giving him the chance. Like, I assume he's the one choosing these lock-ins, bro. These are his champions. Like, this is his famous champion pool. So I have found it kind of underwhelming. I mean, people already know from watching past episodes of the show, I personally prefer Smash of the two of them. But like the other, that's why I bring it up though. Because, like, mate, at a minimum, if you're telling me two people are competing for the spot and I'm supposed to put in the legacy player, I want to hear the opposite to this, mate. I want to hear, like, him tell me, no, like, in scrims, I'm back to my best. Like, I'm grinding. I know I can be the best player in the world. Like, if you put me in, coach, like, I'll carry the game. I don't want to hear, like, the shit excuses. Like, yeah, sorry. I'm, like, 30% of my level. Oh, fuck off then, mate. Get out the door, you bitch. Oh, sorry, that was Lance Armstrong again. I would never say that.
Fucking Lance.
I don't know. Tell you what, that Lance Armstrong's so fucking disrespectful, isn't he? Not like me. I'm a professional, model professional. Also, by the way, I'll tell you someone else who's living a fucking hard life. You just referenced his team. Mate, the amount of suffering Berserker is facing now. Like, listen, I do get that years have changed. So this isn't like when he was at his peak, like 4 years ago or something like that, right? But I hope you do know, LCS fans, you did always go way too far with him. They used to make it sound, mate, like the world rankings of ADC went like, you know, Viper, Ruler, and then just below it was like, oh, Berserker. It's like, in no way ever. Like, this is always what I was scared would happen, mate, is that he'd go back to Korea and he'd just be completely irrelevant. He'd just be like a nobody. Like, at this point in time, it's only because I remember his name. I even remember, oh, shit, that's the Cloud9 guy. Like, their team is so fucking bad. And by the way, speaking of the Beryls of the world, Pioshik, you are also one of the most underwhelming world champions to ever play this motherfucking game. Because think about how many people in all the different roles, Yamato, are like GOAT candidate players but don't have that world's title. And then motherfuckers like Beryl and Pioshik are just like, lol, just running around like, they're fucking, you're supposed to be a world champion. You are trash at this game. Pioshik is so criminally bad at jungling, bro. I don't even know if that's the role. He's like, bro. He's like, bo. He should probably change role. Like, you're just not a jungler. You're so irresponsible with your leads and he's so bad as well at times. Like, he has hands, I'll give him that. He has some hands, but even then they're so hit and miss. Like, what a bad team this is, mate. The Freaks. They suck.
It's horrendous. It's like their whole it's like Berserker is suffering. Like, life is just awful. Like, life has all the negatives of Lehens and all the negatives of Beryl, and that's him.
Okay.
He's a fusion of both, but all the bad.
Okay.
And that's life. It's like life made. He created a job for himself in LCK by doing well in LPL together with Milky Way, playing Pike and Rumble. And that's how he snowballed himself into another job. I feel like for the longest time, if I look at one role in Korea, the amount of paycheck stealers we've had in the super position over time Because we had players like Life being matched up with Ruler at one point, which is crazy to even think about. It's
you
like
think
the
about
super role.
It used to play on T1 or I agree, mate. Support is the most criminal role in it. There's just people because it's like it's like the actual meme of support being a boosted role. They get like carried by all the stars, don't they? It's nuts.
Well, it's fucking, the role has been suffering. It's like Korea really revitalized things together with Delight. You know, God bless that somebody fucking came through, you know. And Duro is looking better and better.
Yeah,
so it's definitely a step up.
It's what if you've never seen. I don't know if you were aware of this part of the law of summoning insight, but in the same way as back in the day, they used to tilt Monty by saying Bengi was like the best jungler of all time, because obviously his game was so whack. Modern day, obviously no one remembers Bengi, mate. That was like 10 years ago. He fucking retired almost at this point. Not really, but you know what I mean. Like, the joke is Beryl is the modern day Bengi, because what you do is you go, but what do you mean? What you have to do is, I'll tell you the secret to actually tilting Monty. Don't say Beryl's the best support player, because then he'll know you're an idiot or you're trolling. What you have to do is, in a really naive way, like big Puss in Boots eyes, look up like, but Mr. Monty, Beryl was in 3 Worlds finals in a row with 2 different teams. Maybe he's the best support player of all time. And then you'll tilt the fuck out of him. Because then his whole... What are you talking about? What about Mata and Kerry and... he'll go mental. But like, that's a real opinion people have, bro, because it's true. To a player, he was in 3 Worlds finals in a row, and he was in 2 different teams, so he must be goated, right? It's like, no, but I'd need half an hour to explain why. That's the problem, isn't it? It's too complicated.
But the craziest thing about this, right, is that most of the time, it's like I spend time arguing with people like this on Twitch sometimes. Okay. And they know they come from a position where they didn't watch all games.
Right.
And they still hold that opinion so dearly, which is so crazy. It's like, yeah, but I watch all of these games. Like, I don't know, like, for example, Milky Way now. Like, Milky Way now is not performing well at all. But everyone's like, oh, Milky Way is jailed, bro. Come on, man. And I'm like, no, Milky Way is not playing well. But Yamato, he just has shit teammates. Like, no, I watched the fucking games. I watched the games, man. I know. I can see that he's not doing well, not performing well. I can extract that substance from the game. Just because you can't doesn't mean that I can't. And this always fucking drives me insane. And it's the same with the battle people. It's like I only watch Worlds. And that's the end of that conversation. I only watch Worlds.
Or they just only think of that like last year where it just KT would bizarrely just beat only the top teams. And it's like, if you only watched those games, you'd think he was good. The real question you should ask yourself is, why would KT usually be like a 5-1 underdog? Watch the other fucking games and you'll find out. Like, the joke is they weren't actually good. They were just basically like birds striking the fucking engine of the plane, as my analogy will never stop being used because it's a great one. Right, I tell you what. Let me think. Is there anything else? No, I think that's about it. I tell you what, I actually think I know, though, Yamato, the secret to how Beryl gets in these teams and stays in these teams. Because as you said, his whole shit is not about what was I like today. It's about making you remember the best memories of who Beryl was. So as a result, I'm pretty sure Beryl himself must have an aura frame. Because he must have an aura frame that he puts in the office of whatever team he joins, and it cycles through all his best moments. Him lifting LCK in Down 1, Worlds, DRX, he's there. Faker and Kerry are all crying, but he's there winning. That smug, that damn smile, all that shit, you know, fucking him last year, upsetting people, you know, fucking joining all the teams, etc. Also, remember, on the aura frame, you can also technically put little videos in there. If you don't know, in this digital frame, you can put like 30-second little video clip in there. He must have clips of him doing stuff, laughing, lifting trophies, stealing checks, who knows? So you yourself could be like Beryl. Listen, you couldn't even be a bad support player in LCK, but in the other aspects of buying this frame, because I actually say, I've said this many times, I actually think the aura frame, anyone could enjoy it, because it's just the concept itself is actually a cool one that people haven't thought of, which is when you have a digital frame, you can put as many photos as you want in there pretty much. It's super easy to set up. It uses like a cloud thing. It's basically unlimited storage almost. You just put loads of pictures in there. You can choose how quickly they cycle through. By the way, it even has a cool feature on it where, a bit like a digital book, if you go past the frame and it shifts to another photo, you can like stroke along the top as if you were like turning a page, and it goes back through the photos, etc. It's kind of cool. If one goes past, you want to see that again, you bring it back. So basically, I always tell people, I actually think for gamers, this is an excellent present, though. Remember, Mother's Day is coming up. This is a dope present to buy for your mom or your grandma or an aunt or something like that. Because if there's someone out there that enjoys photos and like being part of your life and your family, but maybe you're off living as a gamer or fucking at school, or you're doing a job somewhere or in another city, what you do is buy this for your mom or your grandma or your auntie, set it up for them. It only takes a few minutes. Just all they need is Wi-Fi basically in their house. Set it up for them. And then the best part is you can control the account too. They don't have to be super tech savvy. And so what's cool is you can be uploading photos of your life now or cool things from the past, moments you want them to think of, and it'll appear in their frame. Also has loads of, by the way, they've also ironed out so many of the wrinkles with this product. It's nuts. Like for example, so it's a digital frame that shows, well, then you might think to yourself, what happens at night when I go to sleep then? You can put light settings so that once it gets to a certain amount of light in the room, the frame turns off and then it's not on anymore. It's not like having to go and manually turn off a monitor, you know, when you're in the same room. So many of the things, like I say, it's super easy, this setup. You can have multiple people on the account. So here's another thing, by the way. You can also buy this for like your mum and your granny and your aunt and give them all one and have one account and upload the pictures to all the frames. They can also have other people added to their frame to have photos. It's why I actually always bill it this way. I actually think for people like grandmas, it's the most OP. They're the people who want to have all the photos of everyone and be part of people's lives, even from a distance, and know what's going on and what their grandson looks like or your sister looks like or what you're looking like when you're doing something in your life in sports, out and about, all that sort of thing. So I think for Mother's Day, and just generally anyway, it's also a great gift for a girlfriend if you want to be sentimental. I think the Aura Frames is a bagger gift. So they have a great deal for Mother's Day. For a limited time, listeners of this show can save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off plus free shipping on their best-selling Carver mat frame. It's the one I have. It's a banger. That's auraframes.com, all one word. Promo code is summoning. It's the first name of this show, summoning, SUMMONING. Support the show by mentioning us at the checkout. Offers may vary by country. Terms and conditions apply, blah, blah, blah. I actually think it's a bag of gift, though. I have one myself. It's one that I told the story in the background that Monty actually discovered this as just a product himself. Then he got in contact with the company. I think it's straight fire. It's one of those things that, here's the thing, Yamato. I would never have even envisioned something like this being something I would think was interesting. But it's because I actually saw the practical application of trying it myself and having someone load a bunch of photos in. And I've said this before, but there are so many times I've walked past this frame myself and been like, well, when did I put that feature in? What? And then you go back and it actually is kind of cool. It like brings it back to your memory. I think it's a pretty dope gift, mate. There you go.
Agreed. We gave one to my fiance's grandfather, okay. And we're just uploading every picture. You know, it's like a bunch of pictures. Like the cloud covers so much space, and it's like everyone in the family just sends pictures because it's like you wanna stay in touch, and this is the best way to do so. You know, this is a very, very good way to do so.
So here's the thing. I'm sure your mom, grandma or aunt didn't envision having a son who would just be wasting their time learning like how the fucking Team or Sion matchup works. So you've already disappointed them in some sense in life. Why not do something nice for once? Might actually remind them of the good things about you as a baby, you looking cool, you graduating before you got that job at fucking 7-Eleven or whatever. Why not remind them of the good things about your life? Why not be like Beryl and propagandize and brainwash your own family and friends in order to enhance your own personal reputation? Shout out to Aura Frames, shout out to Beryl, and shout out to anyone who buys one of these. Anyway. Oh, and also, I'll give you one last little detail, Yamato, just because it'll build into the lore of Thorin. Oh, don't worry. In my Aura Frame, I do have some of the ridiculous esports pictures of me, like, you know, I have some ridiculous ones out when you go past, like, what the fuck? Like, yeah, that's me, bitch. That's me talking shit to Shaq. Enjoy. That's what's going on in my house. Anyway, I think the obvious reason to talk about now, Yamato, was this not one of the best weeks of LEC we've had in fucking ages, mate? Because this is why you now see why I always, every single split, I am going to really annoyingly bang on and on about the fact that I want playoffs to always be in a real stadium. I'm not even just talking about like LEC with more fans. No, I want a real stadium with fans who cheer for and against people. I want fucking T4s like football. I want drums. Look, I would never want to be there when people have drums everywhere, but if I'm not there, fuck it, do it. The crowd mics all pumped up. I want big entrances because, mate, this 1 week, remember, this is just a week of LEC. This was night and day from every other week, mate. I mean, one thing we can already talk about immediately is, mate, you could literally see that it made some teams better and worse. Like, GX got twice as good G2 was half as good. Like, you could. This is why people want live esports and live sports. It's a different game. Like, what did you think of this? Listen, I hate all the fucking annoying fans, but I'll tell you what, that was a pretty sick atmosphere.
No, it was fucking phenomenal. I think it's like I was very fucking lucky that it's like when I played, we had road shows all the time when I was a player back in season 3.
True.
Like my first event ever was in Lille. We played at the fucking Zenith Arena, Wooden Arena. My first game ever, I'm playing against fucking Darian top lane, you know, he's playing Elise, I'm playing Zed. I fucking remember that like the fucking palm of my hand. That's how you fucking create memories for everybody involved, because everyone's so in tune with something. I feel like that's how you create a long-lasting fan as well. It's like everyone that was in that atmosphere, they're going to remember that. There's something very, very beautiful about like just everyone for like being in a crowd where everyone's in tune with the same idea, you know? It's the same thing. It's like I recommend to anyone that hasn't been like on a concert. It's like even or if there's like a musician that maybe you like a little bit, just seeing them live, it just makes it into such a fucking different experience. I've never regretted seeing any like anything live on that level. I personally wouldn't go to esports events because it's like we're too desanitized to it as a guest unless I'm working.
Yes.
But on the aspect of what it means to the crowd and also the players, you can see I don't know if you watched the mic check. It's like I don't know if you saw like Mirwin like standing up saying, "Oh, go fuck yourself, sit the fuck down," and like they're 2v2 killing and shit. Like you just know. It's like I've always said that KOI, their biggest strength is that they have the confidence to beat people when they allow you to. Because for the longest time, nobody could beat G2. Like last year, nobody could beat G2, even though when G2, like fucking literally, it's like you want to enter the house, they would like put their keys on the floor. They would put like the extras there too. They would open the door for you. Like they would give you every chance in the world to beat them. And Fnatic never could do it. But KOI, when they had the chance with the fucking Deadly Irelia top and they beat them and they qualified to Worlds, they always had that confidence. So it's very, very clear to me the same thing happens on the fucking arena because they seem to just fucking thrive in that, you know? There's a clear like passion there. Like Miriam was screaming his lungs out. The games were fucking close and they could have fucking lost that game against Fnatic a couple of times if it wasn't for, you know, a couple of like Razor classics, you know, where he just can't keep it in his pants when he fucking engages. But the night and day difference of just being in arena, it just almost feels like it's crazy that the spring finals will be determined in the studio again. Like what are we doing?
Yep.
And it just, for me, it just
further this week and the next homestand, there's obviously the KC one coming up soon. These homestand random weeks in theory are more hype than the finals. You're right.
Yeah.
It will be. Yeah.
And then, bro, you could see it in the player reaction too. Like I've never seen Isma so hype. You know, he was screaming his fucking lungs out when they're beating G2. Like I imagine he was carrying like the fucking luggage of all the fucking, you know, verbal whippings he was getting, you know, from the community for playing fucking trash and ruining 2 teams in the same fucking year. Bukada doing better for SK, all that shit at the same time. Like he was fucking, you know, he was feeling elevated, you know, when he won that fucking game against G2. For me, I think it just further cements for me the idea that eventually we're gonna get to the point where Araya's like, yo, we can't fucking pay these costs to do live shows. We can't. The franchise system doesn't fucking make sense anymore. Here, TOs, fucking just figure it out. You guys do it way fucking better than us in terms of managing costs and getting you know, the attention necessary to your like basis in terms of fandom. This is my great theory, Thorin. This is my great theory. My great theory is that all the franchise leagues, you know, eventually they're gonna die out. Riot's gonna figure out a way to maybe pay them off, or to just like, oh well, this is how it is, or they're gonna wait out the teams until the point where they get too fucking upset and suggest this idea themselves. I think the regional leagues is going to be tier 2. So LCK, LPL, all these teams are gonna be tier 2. They can qualify to tier 1, which is gonna be just tournaments that happen. We're gonna have like fucking 6, 7, 8 international tournaments in a year. Top 3 teams for each region, auto qualified. They're already auto seeded. Your favorite players, your favorite teams, T1, Billy, whatever. And then it's going to be just the ERL, like basically tier 2 is going to be the regional leagues. And then we're going to just have Saudi Arabian money. We're going to have KKR fan arenas, SKT fan arenas, and they are going to be able to manage that scale and that size. I think that's like the only way forward, because I can imagine from Riot's side, it's like, yo, we don't make any more fucking money from advertising the game because nobody's buying skins. So eventually it's going to get to the point where you need to take a couple of steps back. But I hope this happens before it's fucking too late, because you never know. Maybe the next game comes out and maybe it just takes over the world again. Like what League of Legends has now, the essence that they've captured, it's like there's so many elements at play that you've managed to hold on to that for so long. Because I was watching the finals between fucking Falcons and fucking Vitality. I was just rewatching.
Right.
I was watching, you know, the fucking what is it? Fucking nuke overtime. Fucking that shit was fucking nuts. And I'm sitting there like I played 1.6. That's where my memory comes from. My nostalgia still fucking hits. Because I see the AWPs, I see the Glocks, I see the USPs, I see the fucking map I played on 1.6. You know, for me, the nostalgia is super, super easy. It's very easy to tune into because the fucking casters have millions of reps repeating the process of building up around. It's like for League of Legends, bro, they fucking have to build up 40 minutes and then it fucking ends because someone stole an Ash. That's hype and all, but it's like in 40 minutes. Like CS is so much fucking easier to digest. And I think it comes from the tournament side and also what the game is because it hits all the nostalgia. League doesn't hit your nostalgia at all because the game just changes way too fucking much. End of rant. Sorry, Thorin.
No, it's all good.
There you go. I just wanted to get that off my chest.
By the way, this is actually why, now it's very easy to explain because people will get it finally. This is why for years and years, people just thought me and Monty, like for no reason, hate Riot Games. Spoiler, first of all, it wasn't for no reason. There's a show called Summoning Insight where we painstakingly detailed and documented why we hate Riot Games, you fucking idiots. Like, there's the million things they did to all of us and all of our friends and everyone, you know, there's all that. And spoiler, Monty literally worked with Riot Games and knew all their employees, you idiots. Like, he wasn't just guessing, he knows all the inside. It's why to this day he always gets inside info like a week or two ahead of everyone else. He's able to guess things like that they'll merge with CB LoL and all that shit because he's hooked in with people in their company. But anyway, one of the reasons I've also always been so underwhelmed by Riot Games, even though everyone else literally unironically has given them like Esports Developer of the Year like fucking a million times, etc., is because it's true that the League of Legends circuit was at one point in time the biggest circuit in esports history. It was enormous. Like, Worlds was huge. Some of them were like massive numbers. But what always underwhelmed me was this. People always assumed, a bit like these convos you have now, where when things go badly in LTA, people look at what the most recent changes and go, right, that change must be why it's going badly. But that's not really how it works. And that's kind of like too specific an example. Like, for all you know, maybe the inertia of past years is what leads to this. Maybe maybe the fan was already out, and for example, maybe he was a fan of like Immortals or something random like that, and they're not in the league anymore. There's a million factors it could be. But one thing I will say is I always used to hate the fact that League had really great numbers, but then it did do these whack league formats and had no fucking LAN finals and everything was BO1. Because I've always thought the obvious thing, which is, what if you'd have done both? What if you'd have had this huge game with all the regions and it had been a tournament circuit like CS? I've always thought that could have made League have numbers no one would ever see, mate. That could have been, it already was the biggest esport. That could have been, I think it actually could have been like 2 or 3 times bigger. Because again, imagine a world where every 2 months, like CS, you're having the equivalent of like T1 fly in to play BLG and then play G2. Like, that's the hype right there. Everyone will be watching that. By the way, another thing I've always thought is awesome about CS tournaments is explicitly that it isn't a league, Yamato. So I don't have to watch every week to know where I'm at. I can watch this tournament and not the next one. I can dip in a single tournament. I can do that. Bro, I can tell you, there's times I cynically look at a match in CS tournament and go, I'm not watching Wild Card against FlyQuest, but then I'll dip right back in when the 2 good teams I want to see play or a team that I'm interested in, what's their level at? It's so easy in a tournament format to dip in and out, and you always know where you're at. Like, if you think how CS tournaments work, where they're a week or 2 weeks long, you know the Sunday is always the championship final, so you can already plan your week. You know that if a team starts doing well and they make the playoffs, right, I'm going to watch the first game on Friday and then the second one. So it's so easy to like select what you want to watch. The problem with League has always been every region was a league, and the way they expected you to watch every league was like, here's a slate of 8 games today, watch them all. And I always used to think, who is this for? Who's a fan of like every team in a region? What? And also, who wants to watch all the bad teams play? That's not even the way anything's scheduled on TV. That, by the way, that's like a sports angle from 100 years, like 75, 100 years ago. Even in modern sports and TV, it's all pick from a buffet. It's not sit there like when we were kids, mate, and watch, oh, you're on channel 1, here's what's on 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. You know, back in the day, you're ready to really blow the Zoomers' minds. Back in the day, Yamato, if something really good is on, but it's only on at 8 p.m. because it's not streaming, you have to wait for it to come on. You have to watch a shit show at 7 p.m. that you don't even care about, but you're watching it anyway. You go, oh, whatever, I'll watch Ali McBeal. Hope she fucks that person. Whatever, she didn't. Nice ass anyway. Oh, my show's on, cool. But I've always told people, Yamato, a lot of people like me in my generation, with nothing weird, we all watched Sex and the City. You know why? Because it was on before some better show. And also you watch it and you go, fucking love that one, that's a whore. Which one? Yeah. kind of
fucking Lance's
splitting
always
hairs on
like
that
Lance
one.
is just
Splitting
here
hairs
the
on.
whole
Listen,
episode.
I'm channeling Lance for this episode, but listen, there's a reason why Samantha was everyone's favorite character on that show back in the day. She was doing numbers. Anyway, so the point is, that's old school thinking that I have to wait until this time to watch. In the modern day, people want to stream it on demand. You click it now, you watch it, you marathon all the episodes, you binge it. I feel like we're so outdated in esports because sadly we're still trying to replicate what sports was 20 years ago, which is what most of these execs like dream of it being. If you look at what works in the other esports, I am so sure, Yamato, this is my prediction. If they go to the circuit you describe, I think that circuit could be very popular. I think that would be an incredibly like I think the engagement would be crazy. I think you would even get more people would watch in general in the sense that it would almost be akin to a Super League. You'd get to watch more international play, more teams from other. I think that would get so hyped, mate. I think everyone would love that. It might be too late at this point in time. You sort of wait until the end to do it, but I'd still be up for it. And I agree with you. To transition back to what we were talking about with these homestands, it's also just the obvious thing to do because if you have the right partner, like Koi or Carmine Corp or T1, they can guarantee amount of bums in seats, Yamato, which is the name of the business at the end of the day. They can guarantee they have fans there. They can guarantee that the stadium isn't half empty, or you're doing that thing where you're desperately 2 days before, like, hey, tickets still on sale, guys. Like, really desperately, like, I'm going to lose my job here. Like, if it's Carmine Corp, you know that stadium's full. Bro, they have filled that stadium for off-season rando BO1s. Like, if it's the actual LEC, there's going to be 1 million people there with flares and flags. Like I said, it'll be like football. It'll be sick. And also, the other reason why I know that has to be the future is this is going to sound random, but this might actually blow your mind. It's actually something even in American basketball that people are starting to realize. So, you know, in a basketball, one of the top players now is that guy from Slovenia called Luka Doncic, who now plays for the Lakers. He used to play for the Mavericks. If people don't know, because he's European, he used to play in the European equivalent of the NBA, which is the Euro League, right? He used to play for Real Madrid there. And if you play in the Euro League, bro, you should see what the finals are like in those games. It's fucking crazy. It's like what TCL's like. There's like crazy packed fans, like fucking chants, like kill the other team, like fucking flares going off. Just all mad like Serbians and shit, bro, just going fucking crazy in some like 10K seater arena. Like that's what they want. When people who are American see that, they're like, why don't we have that? Like, you know, sometimes even our playoff games. That's what you want esports to be. Because I think like this homestand, it's not even the result. Like, by the way, in 10 years, no one will even remember GX beat G2. But you'll remember the fucking feeling of that game, though, man. That stadium was rocking. You could believe it was about, like, fucking topple over or something. People were going ape shit. And also, I do believe, as I said at the beginning, mate, I think that exact result of those two teams only happens in that stadium. You take them back in time and play that game in the studio, G2 just wins, mate. No, this GX was fucking riding high. Meanwhile, G2 looked fucking shook. Like, I'll tell you what, that week alone has made me really question, is G2 going to MSI, mate? Like, I'm a bit worried right now.
Well, I'm going to be honest. I like the only hope for G2 right now, if anything, is Spirit Blossom. Now, no, I'm kidding.
You just got to are you one secretly being paid by Riot to promote Spirit Blossom, and two, does every part of the flow chart lead back to has Spirit Blossom come out yet? No, then it will be better when Spirit Blossom comes out. All right. Right, yeah, no. Just before we started the show, guys, Marta was telling me that if Spirit Blossom comes up, my dad might come back from the fucking gas station with those cigarettes he went out for 25 years ago. Fucking hell.
No, but bro, fucking G2. I don't know. It's so fucking. The most absurd thing is that they brought in 2 players to what is supposed to be the G2 system, with G2 players already set in stone, because Hans Sama and BB and Caps are re-signed for the next year, 2026, even 2027 in Caps' case. And somehow we brought in Skumont and Labrov, and we are playing how Labrov would want to play. And that is like the most crazy juxtaposition, because G2 right now looks like a cheapened version of what BDS was last year, where if they can create momentum and gather themselves around objectives and they can stack dragons, they win games. But when anything happens that disrupts the flow of the game, then they just look out of sorts. That was usually the type of teams that G2 would break in half. Like when they were given opportunities, they would like flow so freely in terms of how they played side lane. And for example, that series, always last year when they played against Fnatic, it was like Fnatic is 8K gold ahead. Doesn't matter. G2 will find opportunities to get back whether it was through fighting or through side laning, getting tier 2s, funneling gold into caps, finding crucial breakpoints to, of course, win the game in the end. But now it's just extremely, like, just complete opposite. G2 right now, in terms of how they are playing, I think that, you know, the meta isn't in the greatest place. Like, usually BB is the one that wants to find, like, creative counter picks. In winter, they solved their big problem in terms of macro, in terms of dominating the map, by making BB the player who connects with the 4, where he picked his Cho'Gath, he picked an Ornn, he picked a tank, and he moved into mid and made sure that his team had the space to just create vision so Caps can push on side. But now the top lane meta is like the champions are being played. Same as been, you know, the champions are just too OP. You can't pass up on them. Like Breathe is doing super well because he's playing those. Kana is doing good because he's playing those. The same thing is like you need to be able to lock in Rumble, lock in fucking Gwen. You need to be able to lock in Jace because these champions are just so too fucking strong on the patch. Or you're in a position where you need to kind of ban them. There were moments where it worked for BB because he had the Warwick lock-in and of course the Ambessa, and they figured out how to play the macro game with the lane swap aspects, with the civil loot and so forth. And strategically, they could find like some breathing room. But right now, there is not a lot of room to do things creatively, especially in the solo lanes. It's like, Azir is something that gets banned often. We see the occasional Talia game from, of course, Caps, but then he reverts into Hui. He plays these mages that, sure, if you can funnel gold into this person, you can do super, super well, but he can't play side lane on his own. And that's where Skewmond and Labrov, the way they play the game just doesn't work. Skewmond, at least I can understand, because he is farming and he has a clear plan in mind of how he wants to progress the game. But Labrov's impact is too central around like being on mid waves, he's showing on vision, not leveraging Fog of War. There is just an extreme lack of creativity, an extreme lack of kind of vision to see how to play through others. Because if I'm in that G2 office right now, I'm saying we're drafting around, making sure that BB can be playing a champion that can always, in isolation, figure out his own wave states. And then Labrov, Skewmond, I want you guys to just fucking right-click Caps. Just right-click Caps. Any freedom you have, any freedom of movement, go into mid. Give Cap space to play aggressive and to be creative. On side lane later, Labrov just open on Cap side, put vision for him. Because right now, they're not progressing the game in between the objectives. That's like the most frustrating part. Because in the past, they could lose objectives. They could lose fights on Drakes or whatever. That would be fine because some of the teams, that's the only thing that they focus on. But the 5 minutes until the next Drake spawns, they would always take over the whole map. And that was just the most broken aspect, of course, Mickey. Mickey was in tune with that idea. He was always on mid. It was always the most frustrating part playing against G2 was that he had the fucking 2 musketeers always coming to back him up. And last year with Yike, he wasn't super, super good at that. So Mickey covered up for all of these aspects, especially when Yike was playing these AP farming junglers like Zyra or Brand, because they just need to full clear. And Skewmon has that playstyle too. Labrov is not, his game idea is just not there. And it seems like he is forcing his team to play his game rather than the other way around. Because right now, if you're GMing for this team, it should be only, it's like, I have Caps. How do I make Caps better? All right, I have Hansama and BB. What can I slot in to make sense? Because if you compare, like the signing of, for example, 113 solved the problem for BDS. But here, what's problem did Labrov solve that Mickey couldn't solve? And at the end of the day, that is like the biggest fucking question mark. And I don't see where the hope is, because Labrov has had a long career of exactly this same thing, of playing very structured League of Legends inside his own rules. If he is allowed to do that, he can be good. And in BDS, it functioned perfectly, because there was very, very limited creativity on that team, and he had the kind of, you know, just the rhythm to do his own thing, and he had the space to do so. In games that were faster, he wasn't good enough, but that was fine. But on this team, I think Labrov's ceiling has already been shown in past years of his career, and I don't see how he's going to reinvent himself completely for G2. And that bleeds into everyone's performance, because individually, across the board, they also look worse. It's like the parallel between G2 and Bilibili is fucking crazy, because it's very, very similar. They're like the Caps and Bin is the equivalent of what fucking Bin and Knight should be, like what they should be in LEC, of course.
No, I will say, I'll take the Labrov point first. I agree with you, especially the thing you said at the end there. The mistake people are making is this, Yamato. When people look at Labrov and Skewmond, I think people are way too harsh on Skewmond. He's a fucking rookie. And by the way, he's already shown me even this split games that look really good. Like, I actually do get vibes. When I watch Skumon play, I think his problem is this. People who are plebs and casuals can only appreciate, like, super active gank junglers. That isn't him. He's more like, he reminds me of, like, early Inspired or something. Like, this guy looks like, I can see why they picked him, by the way. Even though he's not quite there yet. Like, obviously he has to learn to play big pressure games and international and all that jazz. The difference is, he looks like in a year, he could be that guy. He could be like a sick pickup you'd take. The Labrov one is the one that's a killer to me. Because as you said, bro, this guy's not a rookie. He's already played like 5 whole years in the LEC. Like, if he was going to develop much more, you'd have seen signs. Whereas instead, you go the other way. He's only ever really had one core that he was ever really good in, and it was BDS. And quite frankly, at the time, I thought, oh, they're sort of band-aiding the style of play. And then, you know, Labrov's just like the best player in that team. If anything, it looks like they were playing to Labrov's strengths, actually, in that team, mate. Like, especially once Crowdy was gone. If anything, that's how Labrov wants to play League of Legends. I'd imagine that was like the negotiation with his coach. And this move, again, if it was really Hans Sama who asked for it, bro, you know what? We have a saying in England, be careful what you wish for. You might get it. It might come true. Because, mate, you even see it on his face cam. There are times he just looks at Labrov like, really, motherfucker? Like, you can just see him looking like, because remember, I've told people this before. If you go and watch the off-season interview I did with Dylan Falco, which is technically from the off-season of like 2023, but it's mainly about his career, obviously. When I ask him about Hans Sama, because obviously he's played in teams with him, he basically says Hans Sama is someone whose vision of the game is you smash the bot lane and then you carry the game from doing that. So Labrov doesn't allow that, I'm afraid. Like, Hans Sama's had some games, like, I'm not the biggest Hans Sama fan, but he's had some games I felt sorry for him this split, mate, where he was just, like, he couldn't win these lanes, or he gets fed himself, but then you can't carry the game because everyone else is fed, or you're in a shit mid-game. Like, some of these games, it wouldn't matter if he came out of a fucking time machine as like peak Viper, he wouldn't win this game, mate. Like, some of these, so I think that they're in such a bad spot, G2, because if you look at their squad, I don't even hate the Skumon guy. The problem with that angle, as I've said at the beginning of the year, is what people missed about the last years of G2 is they just did this. They went, G2 the org always wins, and it's because they have caps. You all forgot the players that they had in jungle and support, because every winning version of G2 had either Jankos or Mickey X. And that's not a small thing to have either one of those two. Tell you what, when you have neither of them, it looks fucking bad, mate. Because those two weren't just good players. They were like good at their role, and they added like qualities no one else has, like special. Jankos, if people don't know, ask Rich when he used to work with him at HUK. He says he thinks this guy has the best comms ever in League of Legends. Like, he's supposedly like the most perfect teammate of how you talk without giving information, without like putting signal noise in, while still asking people what they want, while updating. So apparently he's just godlike at that. Mickey X, as you said, this is where, if you only look at what people don't have, you'll miss what they are. Bro, they really missed in this G2 team. The amount of fucking games he saved them in the mid-game was crazy. This guy, if off the top of my head, I could probably give you like 10 individual LEC games that he just won by himself. Yeah, don't get me wrong. He had a bunch that he inted. He had a bunch of times he would die inexplicably like Hillsang. But the upside, like, he would literally win you games. He would give you a chance to win games too. And unlike these players, we'll wait and see what happens if they go to MSI. I could actually buy that he could do it internationally. I have no fucking, because remember, BDS never went. I don't know how Labrov is going to do if he goes to an MSI, mate. And Skumond, I just feel like it's just too young. Like, he still has a little bit of jitters for me. But the difference is, from what I've seen of his game, I'll wait that out. I'm willing to wait. I'll invest in Skumond. He does look to me like he could be really good. Beyond that, though, mate, it doesn't stop there. Because I'll tell you what, if you want to talk about those solos, which were guaranteed to be like the best or second best in their roles like the last few years, it's not even like, here's the thing, Caps is at the point in his career now, mate, he doesn't really play bad, but he doesn't have that many big carry games that you think of in the last years. Like, I thought he was unbelievable last year if he got a lead. He would almost always win the game. And by the way, I'm not going to go too hard on this point, because when you watch the newest episode, it'll come out the day we're recording this, of Best Damn League show. Bro, one of my bad points was fucking Broken Blade. Mate, it's not even that he's a bad player, but the days of him being like the best, or like he's head and shoulders above it, not at all. Mate, he got given that fucking work by this lot guy. And I'll tell you what, I think Canna is just much better than Broken Blade personally. Like, you start to look at G2 and the question really becomes, spin it the other way, Yamato. Where are the edges? They don't really have them anymore. First of all, they've created their rivals. They give Yank to KC, they give fucking Big X to Fnatic, and now even their like traditional 3 big carries, they're not actually all killing it. Like, it kind of like they're all just good. And that, by the way, and in a weird way, they're not bad, but being just good when you used to be the best and you rely on that, that's a big gap. Like, I feel like I almost get the sense, Yamato, they themselves are shocked by how kind of underwhelming they are in some of the LEC games.
100%. I don't like these BB Yasuo Lokins. You know, they just seem like kind of desperate. You know.
Oh, by the way, when you were listing those champions as well, I looked it up, Yamato. Bro, he plays so few of the meta champions for top lane right now. Like, as you said, where is the Rumble? Where's the Jace? Where's the Ambassador? They're not even in his pool, mate. They don't exist for this guy.
And that's like a fucking, that's a horrendous
It's weird, isn't it?
It's like especially like a champion like Rumble, bro. This champion's been broken for 2 years. I've been whining on stream about nerfing and shit to the ground for so long. These need to be there, you know. These need to be there. It's like he has a deep and creative pool, and you know, like he has the Warwick and the Yasuo and whatever, but these champions are just not good enough. Like the counters are just not good enough right now. Like when it works, it looks cute and it looks very good. Like that one time they played Warwick Pantheon and Tambessa and killed it on side over and over again against Oscarinin. But, you know, now we're at the point where, you know, you don't play these champions, you are just going to be like a massive negative for you. And like I have noticed often in Caps' career when his team, like he's going to pick the champion which he thinks he can do the most with, depending on which players he works with. Because it's like when we beat them in that BO5 when we played against G2, where like back in 2021, when they had Reckless and Mickey.
Like was still living off that one series he got the win over G. To be fair, not many people have beaten him best of 5 in Europe. I'll give you that.
Bro, they didn't make worlds, bro. They didn't make worlds. That's fucking historical. True. Come on now.
True.
No, but my point was, it's like in that moment in time, the health of the team was very visible due to what Caps was picking. Caps was always just picking the mage that he could scale with, play safe with, play in isolation with, and there was no room for any dynamic play. And on our side, we were playing Twisted Fate, Rise, like we were doing a whole different thing when he was like leaning towards Orianna. It was a very similar thing I remember at the World Finals when they played against IG. The first opening game, he played Aurelia. And then the big shocker was, bro, fucking Ning is way quicker, way more nimble than fucking Broxa is. I cannot play my fucking matchups because their support and jungle is just way sharper around mid. And then he pivoted completely and picked scaling. Like now, when he's looking in that way, for me, that's a signal of, I don't trust my teammates to get the lead for me that I need to execute certain champions to fucking carry the game. Because if I play something that isn't strong in the matchup and strong in isolation, I'm not going to be able to carry. And I think usually, for me, I always look at Caps as like the main signal for where the health of the team is. And with how, let's say, vegan, how the kids say nowadays, how vegan he's picking his champions, I do think that this is also like a big indicator too. I think they just need to take a couple of steps back and make fucking solid commitments, because the name of the game is keep Caps fucking happy. Like that's gonna fucking bring you.
And he's just re-signed, so you got to now. You got to rebuild it.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Got to keep the guy happy in game, and this is the guy that is going to execute on it. Like I think their in-game planning in the mid-game between the objectives is just non-existent, and I feel like Caps is the player to rally around. Like he is the fucking face of overreaching on side and getting more waves than anybody else. Like he was doing this before LPL and LCK. Solo lanes weren't even doing this. So to see this state of G2 where they're overly timid and never pushing past like midway, like mid-wave points is very, very crazy to see.
This is where I actually think, I've mentioned this in the past, it's like I just went one split too early. Because think of all the teams I had in winter in the regions. I had IG in LPL, I had Gen G in LCK, and then I had Fnatic in LEC. And I was just a split early. Because, look, the IG one didn't quite get there. But the others, they're the best. Like, Fnatic right now is the best team in the LEC. Like, the problem with Carmine Corp is the record looks a bit fraudulent, because you look at how many games, like, the other team, like, tripped over and couldn't win, like, Dick Dastardly in fucking wacky races right at the finish line, just crashed. G2, by the way, as I've referenced here, it looks miles off the pace at times. And then MKOI, actually, this is one of the first weeks they've looked really good. Like, actually, they've got it together. But you watch this week here. First of all, obviously, Fnatic could have won the MKOI series. That goes out saying that ending was ridiculous. Like, it was like, no, that's one of those ones where no one really knows who's going to win when you get in a scenario like that. Like, you're just doing a crazy base race almost type scenario, slash maybe he gets one more auto when you win the game. So both teams could win that one. But the G2 that was a statement series, mate. Like, Fnatic, when they hit their peak, they could beat anyone. Their problem is what happened in game 3 of the MKOI one, mate, which is, as you referenced, the problem you always have in this team is Razork has never met a play he doesn't like, mate. He goes for them all. He goes for the good ones, the medium ones, and the bad ones. He goes for the ones where you're already winning and you can't lose. Just give him a chance to win. He goes for the ones where this guy doesn't ever know restraint. There's no breaks. And the problem is, that's what I think people are still scared about with Fnatic, mate. I think they even see all these games. By the way, I've said this in the past, but I'll say it again for this week. If he wasn't called upset and didn't have all that baggage, mate, the player that's playing in this split would win the MVP award. Like, look at some of the fucking... If you were all reckless back in the day, if he put these stat lines up, he would auto win the MVP. You out your mind. If you're in the best team, winning all the big games, and you have all these deathless games, you'd be fucking praised to the roof. Because he's upset, people want to hate on him. Mate, Fnatic's just really good. The problem is, everyone's still scared that, like, what happens at the end of game 3 against KOI will happen. That they'll just find a way to mentally implode and it'll all go to shit. But you see the ceiling they have is high, though. I think they're just the best team for me, mate.
No, I'm with you. Like Fnatic looks like the favorite to just take things home. Like I think Humanoid's form looks fucking fantastic.
Oh, killing it, isn't he? Yeah.
I think Upset, I'm with you. Like I think he's fucking performing out of his mind. Mickey is also looking insane. Like he's looking better than any support in the league too. Like the main question mark still is like that, bro. That Inspired interview, like you kind of hit the nail on the head, you know, like with the Inspired interview, because you know at some point, like some of these engages you fucking try to pull on VAR is just fucking crazy talk. It's like in terms of reframing the state of the game and the context of his champion and the role he needs to take within the game. Like that needs to be a little bit more fluid, man. It needs to be a little bit more like water, you know. It needs to flow a little bit more with the game. Because he's just fucking an ice block at all times, just fucking trying to, you know, break people down when it's not necessary. Like this happened in last split, this happened in this split too. That's like the main concern, you know. Like I think when he's playing champions where he's supposed to be more timid, then I think you kind of don't see that. I feel like his identity of how to play is way too tied to what the abilities are rather than the context of the game. Like that Vi game, like when he was like ulting onto Gwen in angles that fucking made no sense. It just seems like over time, the deeper and longer the game goes, the faster he wants to finish. He just wants to he left the stove on or some shit. I don't know what the fuck is going on. But that is like the biggest question mark. And if that's your biggest problem, God bless. Because KC and G2 are dealing with far more right now. So
yes.
So if that's where you're at, you know, you're chilling. Yes. You're definitely fucking happy. I think Oscarinin is also solid. I like Oscarinin. And he plays all the right champs. So, you know, he plays Rumble. He plays Rambessa. You know, God bless him.
No, by the way, I'm with you. I actually think that's a very fair way to say it. You can certainly point out flaws of Fnatic. They are obvious. The difference is, though, that's like, you know, a tiny bit of bad decision-making or you just do one extra play. I'll take that over, like, I don't even know yet if Carmine Corp's even going to be able to fucking lane against international teams. G2 just has players, literally the fucking supportive elements of jungle and support just fall apart in certain games. Like, the difference is, out of those three, I know it sounds like a cursed statement, but I'll take Fnatic out of those three, mate. I can rely on them more right now. And when they do hit their actual, like, firing on all cylinders, they look really strong, mate. The hands are there. Like, you saw it in this G2, they can dust people off, mate. This is a really strong mechanical team.
Something I wanted to add too. It's like that game 3 draft from G2. Like, what the fuck was that?
Okay.
Like, they fucking have Zyra, Gragas, mid-jungle? Like, what are we doing? Like, what the fuck are we doing? And then it's like how Humanoid just locks in Aurelion Sol and he's chilling. You know, it's like, it just seems so weird. Like I really, really, you know, I just don't get it. It was the same that game 2 draft against Fnatic where they have like the Hui and then the Galio top. Like they are completely out of sorts. And once again, it's like one of those things. I don't want to pull the Split Blossom card, but it's like the G2 staff has pedigree, Broken Blade and Caps, really fucking good players. They figured it out in winter because winter they had issues at times. But there is like that slight possibility. But right now, I have to say, this is probably the worst version I've seen of G2 in like maybe forever, if I just contextualize these last 2 weeks. I'm trying to think if like if the ever time was the worst. Definitely not during 2018, 2019, fucking 2020, like maybe 2018. Honestly, they fucking didn't make playoffs and lost to Misfits. That was fucking atrocious. So maybe it's on par with that. But this last 2 weeks, fucking horror show, the BDS series and now the GX series too. So definitely up there. You know, if we made a list of like worst periods of time for G2, this is definitely up there. We should need to ask the WhatsApp group.
Okay, I like the reference. By the way, that's also why I agree, though. Here's why you should actually be ringing the like warning bell of like, this fucking panic if I'm G2. Because, bro, this isn't last year's G2. This isn't the team where it's like, oh, it's okay, Yamato, it's last year. We won the winter split and we went to the international competition. You know what? We just sort of fuck around in the regular split. Yeah, we lose the odd game to Fnatic. That was classic move they used to do. But we'll get them in the playoffs. This G2 team can't have that confidence at all, mate. They didn't win that last split. They had to sit at home while Carmine Corp with 2 rookies was in the first stand final. Like, and as of right this moment, they aren't top 2, mates. Like, I don't even know. I actually wonder. That's why I want to see what happens with MKOI back in the studio. Bro, they might even be the 4th best LEC team, G2, which is inconceivable. I think at most people thought maybe Fnatic, or maybe if you were mega coping before the year Carmine Cup, maybe, you know, 1 or 2 teams could be ahead of G2. The idea they could actually be like the 3rd or 4th team, like for real though, is nuts. But it's plausible, mate. That's actually on the table right now. Like, that's why I'm actually kind of worried, because I think that old thinking of like, it's G2, they'll get it together. This doesn't have the same feel of the past G2s for me. I know it has some of the same names, but I'd say I told you, I think that those like support and jungle aspects were doing more work than people realize. They were enhancing the game of other people. Like I said about Hans Sama. Hans Sama, I don't even think he's playing badly. He just can't get in the game, mate. There's just nothing going on for him.
And it's like now, it's like their next matchup is Vitality. It's like, considering where Vitality is, they're on the up and up.
That's a cheeky match right now, mate. That's a cheeky match. Yeah.
It's like the top side of Vitality is fucking popping off. Like Naknako, I said it in winter, like I made the claim, like I think Naknako is one of the new top laners that comes in. This guy's a fucking future. Because like
he's
mechanically,
really,
really fucking insane. And he plays all the right fucking champions. You know, he plays all the fucking champions and he plays them insane. Like the highlight reel from Naknako, even in the losses. Like there's a world, like with some of the losses Vitality has had, that they would be fucking in top 3 right now because of the egregious nature of some of the losses when they threw like the fucking Fnatic series or whatever. Like I think Vitality is looking legit. Especially, it's like we saw Karzi and Niski play that one series. I don't remember against who. That was so fucking bad. One of the worst series ever we saw from Karzi. And then 2 days after, he bounced back and should, you know, reminded us, yo, I'm fucking Karzi. Like, chill. There's no problem. So it's like this team is looking better and better. You know, I do think that this is like an actual real test for G2. Because it's like, from what we saw, we isolated the last 2 weeks, Vitality could fucking beat them. And when that happens, then we've lost 3 series in a row for G2. What the fuck do we do then, you know?
Oh, and remember as well, of the matchups that are remaining, Yamato, so they have 3 matchups left to play. They play Vitality next week, which, as you said, is not anymore like just an easy win. And then the last week, remembers that, like, isn't that like the KC homestand or something?
Yeah.
Oh, they play KC in their arena. Like, there's a real world where, look, I think they're going to beat SK, but they could lose 2 of the last 3 series. And if that happens, Yamato, they will actually end on a fucking, like, losing record in the league. Imagine seeing that. G2 with a losing record after the regular portions, but that's inconceivable. That's fucking insane, bro. No way. But it's plausible, totally. Remember, this is the other thing as well. You know what? Spanish fans are pretty ruthless, mate. But they also sort of do that thing where, you know, it's a bit like football. They'll cheer you if you do well as well. Bro, Carmine Corp fans, if you're not in their team, if you're on G2, get ready. Like, spoiler, you will have the idea popped into your head that maybe you and your family might die. That might be a thing. That's a thing. Put it this way, Carmine Corp fans, Lance Armstrong the fuck out, homie. Disrespectful as fuck. There you go.
Oh man, yeah, no, it's crazy. You know, like the only saving grace
game in League of Legends, right? Go to the Carmine Corp fucking stadium. That's an away game right there, mate.
100% agreed. I was like, I've been at KC events where KC is like the focus, so it's like a different vibe, you know. Like I was KCX, where it's like if they have a clear enemy, you know, I could imagine it's a fucking different game. Like there was like these LFL days where they like did these fucking shows and they take over the crowd completely, bro. They are in it, you know. They are in it, you know. In the game, they are with the team, you know. Yeah, it's like the main thing that is their saving grace is Team Heretics' success. Because like Team Heretics has managed to, like they are 4th right now in the standings, which is crazy. It's like respect to Team Heretics, but G2 has the head-to-head against them. So if there's ever a way where like we have like kind of a tie that happens in the in-between, G2 is sitting there hoping, like the fact that we're talking about how they have to hope that Team Heretics loses their matches and BDS don't catch up to them because BDS have the head-to-head. So there's like a lot of crazy elements at play. I don't know exactly the tiebreaker rules. That's something I should probably read up on for the next episode because we're gonna get closer. Because there might be a world where we have tiebreakers, but knowing after first stand, I don't know if Riot maybe they just hate tiebreakers and hate competitive integrity. So who knows? I will look up the tiebreaker rules for the next episode.
There is a detail though I need to bring up with you, and this is interesting.
So
basically, if you go and look up, it doesn't seem like, I'm just double checking. No, it seems like it's quite reasonable. One thing that people have done that is so dirty, Yamato, is before this last week of LEC, if I ever even mentioned the letters GX, everyone would go, ha, 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 that Gyotto guy, ha, remember that? Remember how badly that's aged? Remember when you said that and then you never won any more series? Well, you know what, guys? He literally just actually fucking beat the G2 team in the arena. And are you ready? Not only was that like, yes, he was also like me, he split early, but remember, it now even sets up a world, Yamato, where you're looking up fucking tiebreak rules for will G2 even be in the playoffs? Like, mate, that's not that far from his prediction. His prediction was they don't make worlds. That seemed really stupid after winter split, Yamato. That's not even impossible now. There's a very real world where if they play in summer like they do now, they won't be one of the LEC teams. I know it sounds mad because that seemed completely off the menu. Well, you know what, motherfucker? Orc sound. Meat's back on the menu. There you go. Gyotto's back. Gyotto's that massive fucking orc from the end of Lord of the Rings, the one who was like, the time of men is, the time of G2 is over. Now the time of the orc will reign. Like, he's that guy, the one who got that massive fucking rock shot thrown at his head or whatever it was. Like, he's him, or was it the elephant that picked him up? I forget. We all know those sequences were fire. Great CGI, by the way. Well done.
Fair play. I was one of the guys that clowned on him perma. So fair play, fair play. Beating, they're beating G2, and also with what's happening with G2, we gotta take it for what the statement is. I think the combination of the two, the fact that GX was doing bad and G2 was kind of performing and looking good, especially at the beginning of spring as well. I think the combination of that, I think Gyotto deserved to be clowned on. But now we need to take the merit of the statement and apply it to what it is, because it has no context of GX at all, right? Yeah. Like the context of GX and how fucking trash they are doesn't matter to the statement.
Oh, it was just about G2, which by the way...
It's just about G2, and right now, fair play. I give it up for Gyotto.
All I'm going to say is this, you know this, Yamato. He wasn't just doing that blind. He was doing it based off scrims before winter. Presumably in scrims, he saw enough games where he was thinking like, maybe, I mean, by the way, it was implied even GX must have been beating them. He was watching and thinking, this isn't the G2 of past years. So even though, look, he did a great WWE job. He made it as spicy as possible. Like, hey, maybe G2 won't even make worlds before we've even played the whole year, by the way. So it sounds mental. And look, it did age really badly, that winter split. But as I said, all of a sudden, you can see why he made the statement now, mate. I can see that there must have been something, some substance to why he was projecting forwards in that sense. Because he's not that far off now. Like I say, it's almost, his prophecy is starting to come true. Starting.
Yeah, no, for sure. I keep seeing this WhatsApp post, and I'm thinking,
with you, I definitely don't believe. I'm not going to go the other way and say that means GX is good. No way. Like, I refuse to believe that, sir. I refuse to believe that.
Yeah.
It's why, if you notice, I didn't, Yamato, say, wow, that Lock guy's a really good top player. Instead, my take was, what's happened to Broken Blade? He used to be one of the top players. You see, that's the way we're taking this one apart. It's all good. We're taking it all apart.
Sir.
It's all good.
Yes, sir. Who else you got? Casey, I guess, bro, I think they were blessed to not play.
True.
Bro, that's what they needed, bro. They needed a timeout. They need to figure shit out. That's a big blessing. And they get to play against Rogue, so this is another week off.
One thing, I'm gonna get my conspiracy bag now, though, Yamato. Here's where I've got to get in that conspiracy bag. Here's why. Because wait a minute. We're doing homestands where it's implied that you like maybe even get to choose who you invite, and that's how they fit the schedule. And you're inviting people, right? Remember, what you want is an amazing atmosphere, and you don't invite Carmine Corp. I think that's like, here's my conspiracy, Yamato. They knew that they couldn't allow Carmine Corp fans and MKOI fans to meet in the same arena because someone had died, mate. I don't know who it would be. You throw a coin into the crowd. Whoever catches it, you're dead. Like that would be like a riot, mate. Like that's like having like Turkey and Greece playing football or something. Someone's dead at the end of that one. Like that rivalry's too intense because that's kind of mad. Like I want to see. By the way, they're also the champion region. I want to see Carmine Cup play in that arena too. I think it'll be. I'd even like to see. By the way, it'd be really dope for MSI. I want to see them come in as the away team because, like you say, they're used to being the home team and having all the fans on their side. I'd love to see what happens when the MKOI fans get on them. Would they play dope? Would they battle back? Would Callisto carry them? Would they choke? Who knows? I'm a bit miffed that they didn't play me. I would have liked them to have been there. I don't give a fuck about watching Vitality play BDS. That can be a studio game, Yamato. I don't need to see that game in an arena.
Well, I need to pull up now. It's like, is Koi not playing any game at the KC Arena at all? Is Koi done before the last week?
They play Rogue at the very end.
They play Rogue. Okay.
No one gives a shit about you, though. But yeah, whatever.
So everybody left already. Like everyone's on the way home. Or actually, no. That's day 3. That's day 3. They play in the studio.
You're right. Yes, you're right.
Oh, damn. That must have been intentional, right?
It must have been
intentional. Damn.
Because that looks like you're each going, like, so for my birthday, Jimmy, you can come, Susie, not you. Like, that's what they did to each other. Like, that's it. That GX, MKOI did it. And then I bet KC was like, oh, well, that's because you're going to love my invites. My invites would be G2. Yeah, I got them. Not KC. Like, they're just doing it to each other, bro. They're just fucking with each other on this one. Because that's too suspicious, isn't it? What, both of them, they're not on. Come on.
I guess if anything, the angle is it's like they have invited G2 to both, and then they've had the French teams come to like Vitality and KC, and then they had like Fnatic, who's like, I guess, Spanish with Razork and Oscarinin. So it's like the proximity to maybe the crossover in fans. Maybe that was just like the approach, I guess. But it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird that, imagine you are the team that gets to not play and you're just fucking, you're just playing on the Monday in the studio. That part's fucking weird. Just fucking play 3 matches the same day.
Also,
come on now. You have the fucking venue. Just do it.
Also, imagine just being that team, the formal Yamato. Like everyone else, like, hey, see you guys. We're all off to France now. Hey, we have an announcement. Instagram pictures. Hey, I'm meeting fans. Wow, cool. Me and Shocks. TikTok dance, and then you're just waiting there like, oh, what time? Set your alarm, guys. Get in the shuttle. We're all going to the studio again to play Rogue. That's like in those American movies back in the day, Yamato, where it's like that's like the day of the big high school football game that everyone's at, but you're in detention. You don't get to go to the big game, and you're just looking out the window. You can see in the distance, all the flares going off in the. Oh, I wish I was out there. The teacher like. Algebra chapter 7. Like, that's what doing this fucking Rogue match is like. Remember, they have to actually. Are you ready, Yamato? This is cruel and unusual punishment. The coaches of MKOI have to actually sit down and spend hours professionally preparing to play a series against Rogue. No one should have to do that. That's an unacceptable, hazardous concern. That you should get danger money for that. That's nonsense, mate. And it's also the last match of the whole fucking LEC. What a way to end the LEC. MKOI versus Rogue.
Bro, how fucking sad is it? Like, I just checked. There's 2 teams that don't get to play road shows, and that's Rogue and Team Heretics. That's basically. I don't really feel that bad for Rogue on that one, to be fair. It's basically the equivalent of getting bottom 2 in Nirvana group. Like, they're basically telling you, fuck off. I don't know if it's tied to, like, it's not tied to the placements, because Team Heretics made playoffs last split. So I wonder how they decided that.
I don't know.
It must have been awkward in that room,
Indeed.
What else we got in LEC?
I think that's mainly it for now. It's mainly it for now, I think.
That's so.
I did have one more thing, but I don't remember what it was. What was it? There isn't much going on in LTA, mate. Like, the real problem in LTA right now is, like, it's like you say, you're just waiting for the real playoff series. No, it's hard to. It's really hard to engage to give a fucking fortune with LTA. It just is. Like, I even feel like some of them phoning it in, like TL phones it in a bit. I don't know if I really believe this is their real level. 100 Thieves just unfortunately isn't as good.
I guess if anything, is that Team Liquid, what's rumored is that they have a 6-man.
Oh, yes, the signing of that guy. Yeah, true.
Well, because that's pretty fucking hype. Like all things considered, it's like we are big fucking. Like it's wrong to say haters because we are lovers of the potential of Team Liquid. We are lovers of the growth of Team Liquid, and we believe in the Team Liquid saga. But there's just certain someone that has been holding it back. So we are not haters. We are lovers of the game. And has ruined that. To see that they bring in a 6-ban, I think is fucking.
Do you know
cool.
anything about this player? I know nothing about him. This guy from Mongolia, who's apparently used to be on FlyQuest Challenger. Do you know anything about him?
Like the only thing that I heard was that he was supposed to basically join to play in a main team. I don't remember which one, but there was visa issues that kind of held it back.
Oh, right.
And I wonder now if Team Liquid have managed to figure that out and are going to bring him in. So this is a player that has been rumored in the past to be one of those guys that should move up. So, like beyond that, in terms of his gameplay, like I just imagine, like because he's from Mongolia, that he's like gonna have like throat singing. He's gonna come out like a Carl, you know. He's a fucking. I just imagine he's going to conquer the whole rift. That's my vision of it, you know. It's gonna be just fucking be the way he fucking is gonna trash talk. He's gonna be all Lance Armstrong with fucking the whole league, you know. He's gonna be crazy. That's how I imagine it. But to be honest, anyone that comes
guys. In, the new meme is getting your Lance Armstrong on, which is where you just start being mad disrespectful to people. Even though, as far as I know, he didn't even do it. He just cheated. That's all. That's it. He wasn't even like a rude guy, as far as I can tell. You know, whatever. Oh, there is one thing we have to bring up. We cannot leave the European region. I saw you made a video. So if people don't know, Shushei, who was obviously a Season 1 champion, he was at the time. Here's the problem. When I say he was the mid laner of Fnatic, guys, he was, like, if you don't know, actually, you expect he used to play top lane back then. But there wasn't really lanes in the same. Like, remember, it wasn't until the Season 1 championship there even was bot lane with 2 people in it. Like, if you don't know, sometimes, like, the equivalent of, like, the fucking... You'd have like a solo bot laner sometimes and stuff. Like that's what like Chousty used to do back in the day. So anyway, this guy who was the Season 1 champion with Fnatic was obviously the original Fnatic squad with Lamia, Zealot and all those guys, etc. Shushei obviously passed away tragically, unfortunately, of cancer. And if people don't know, Yamato was his teammate years and years ago. So that's why I actually knew if you made the video, it was going to be interesting. I'd tune in to watch it. So, because here's the thing, you weren't just doing what a lot of people do, which is, I vaguely remember that name. Oh, it's sad, blah, blah, blah. You actually knew this guy. You actually like knew a bit about him, etc. And I've got to say, unfortunately, he didn't play that long into the LCS era because that Dragon Balls team wasn't very good. And then he kind of got transitioned out of the scene a bit at that point in time. But in the early days, this guy literally had a massive name. Like, think what I just referenced there, bro. When they were in Fnatic, he was a bigger name than expected at the time. Like, this was the guy making the like super dope ass plays. And by the way, literally what you'd imagine a Polish mid laner to be like. By the way, ballsy players all over the place, crazy. It's going for every aggressive play. Give me some thoughts. Look, I will say people should go to your channel where you did a very sort of somber. I think it was the day you got the news, right? You did like a very somber sort of almost like an obituary eulogy rather to who he was and who he was. But give me a little bit on the show here. Like when you first heard that news, I mean, first of all, it must be very jarring. It was only like 30 something.
Oh, it's just it's like he was 36 years old. It's completely like shocking because
wild, isn't it?
My view in terms of how it's like if you've worked and like lived together with someone for a certain period of time, it's like you're kind of connected somehow because your story has intertwined itself, and that's what makes you, right? It's like when I heard the news, it was like extremely shocking because it's just so young. And it kind of makes you reflect on like how fragile everything is and how sudden things are and how it just puts things into perspective of what is actually like important. And I mentioned in the video too, it's like this is not like Shushei was not someone that I talked to like at all past like that season 3 and 4 point. Like the last time we spent time together was that qualifier we played against Michu Makers, and we lost. We got reverse swept against Michu Makers, and that like left me like I left that moment with a lot of anger. But now when I read the news, it brought me instantly back to that moment, and I looked at it through the lens of who I am now. Obviously, like a lot more mature and a lot more appreciative for what we actually went through. Because there was times there was like annoying, suffering, and so forth. But it was still an important aspect of what we went through and what came out of it. And the moment I read the news, it's like it was as if I flashed back to that moment. And even in the video, the support that we played with, Movert, he even commented, he's like, you brought me back completely. When I read the news, it was like extremely shocking to me, and he had a very, very similar experience, and he also like exited the scene very, very early on. So It's like I think Shushei, in terms of the player that he was, like in the early years, he for sure was the guy. Like he was, you know, what like if you only take a season one in isolation, like he was the guy that would, if you only look at that and you would make a prediction for who would be the go to the game, it would be fucking Shushei. Like in terms of his innovation, in terms of like how playful he was as a person, the jokes he would do, it's like he wouldn't harm anybody. He would be like the most good-hearted, good-spirited person, and he was very, very creative and always showcased that in the game. It's like the Gragas one is the one that everybody knows, the Alistair one too, but it also went beyond that. Like I remember nobody thought, because after the Fnatic era, this was when they wanted to move expected to mid lane, because all the roles was just kind of cemented. And Shushei was not performing super well in top lane because he couldn't, like, it was a lot more rigid to play top. It's like everything was rule based to play top lane. And this was back then where I was in talks with Fnatic, maybe joining them. But I was just too young, and then they just went with Soaz, which made it sense. They probably would have taken the job anyway, because Soaz was just ready to go, and he was from AAA. Like at the time, people didn't expect Shushei to do much more because he couldn't find like the right team. And then he wanted to make his own thing. So he made his own org, made his own team. And he was like one of the first guys who had that like dream to really, really build something of his own. And it was, you know, the LEC qualifier that was playing out. Nobody expected anything from this team because it was just a bunch of randoms. It was a bunch of randoms and Shushei that he put together, like a bunch of guys that he liked. And he just fucking 1v9 carried that qualifier. Like he was playing Vi mid together with Hozan, who was like a Draven OTP Draven player. And they managed to plow through the qualifier and they beat out teams that people just expected for granted that they would qualify to the LCS. And Shushei, like even in that moment, managed to do so fucking much. And in the LCS and that spring split, was carrying that same level of creativity, and we were taking games off of great teams, off of like that creativity. There's a lot of highlights of Shushei because that's what he was looking for. That's what he enjoyed. And in the end, we couldn't qualify again, but the impact he had as a player in season one, because back then people didn't use Twitter. I remember like his Facebook pages, like he had like 300,000, 400,000 followers on the Facebook page, because that was like the shit back then.
That was the
like
shit.
He was the guy. He was the go to the game, and how it played out, you know, that's how it played out. I will always cherish those memories because they're a part of me forever. So I share that story with him, and I will carry that with me forever. And I hope that any like viewers that maybe don't know much about it, they should go. Like G-Bay made a fucking wonderful documentary about how he warped the first World Championship. I think he did a great job of nailing that story, and I recommend that people take a look. You know, it's a good one.
Yeah, I would also just say as well, this is where I'm more in the role of my esports historian hat. I will just say one thing I do hate about the way people view sports and esports is where they view it. I always say the modern analogy I give is they view it like players are FIFA characters and that you just have set stats, that you're that stat every game. So if you notice, people don't say, oh, Mickey X had a bad 2024. They'll be like, see, I always told you Mickey X was a fraud and he's no good and look, he insults her. They always make it like secretly the player was always like that. So unfortunately, because Shushei was basically only like really good in season one, and then after that he lost his job in Fnatic, and then he went briefly in the LEC and it wasn't very long. People are going to think like, oh, who cares, just some old player. No, because if you actually do go back to season one, which by the way were the formative years of League of Legends, absolutely, mate, this guy was like a top 5 player. This guy was one of the fucking Smurf players. And at the time, especially, this is the other key thing. By the way, same thing with Carlos back in the day. The other thing about these players is because they were like really aggressive playmaking, they had so many fans, mate, because that's what draws the eye. These are the players you become a fan of because you watch them go in the game and try and hands everyone and fucking skill check everyone. So no, it doesn't matter that later on his career wasn't as good or we haven't heard of him for years and years. I mean, I don't know that anyone heard him for like it was quite early on in league. He stepped away and wasn't part of the scene, but you should never erase what people did at the height of their career. And I agree with you, by the way. If you'd have asked someone at the end of 2011, right, pick 5 European players that are going to be here in 5 years and be like household names, this would be one of them. You'd assume this guy becomes a Mount Rushmore player, mate. No one at the in fact, like I said, no one at the time would have even thought it's actually Expecchia that's going to become the more famous player. Back then, this guy, Fnatic was his team. It was Shushei's teammate. This guy was the guy. And I can tell you, all those American pros at that season 1 World Championship will tell you this guy was fucking killing it, mate. He was really good. Because remember, that was when NA, if you don't know, NA thought they were the kings at the time. We didn't have Korea. There was no China. They were barely China. There was World Elite at like their events or whatever. So at the time, NA rocked up to this event thinking they were going to walk it. Mate, they got dog walked. People like Shushei fucking murked them. It was hilarious. So anyway, I thought we'd just leave it at that. We'll do a little tribute on the show. Right, let's do a little quick break and we'll do some Q&A, shall we? We'll do the little... After that, to answer your questions, if you are subscribed to the LEC Nation Discord. See you in a minute. Right. You might know that the last segment of this show involves viewers asking questions, not Twitch viewers or people in YouTube chats, people who subscribe. No, also no secret WhatsApp group. We're not even on that level. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Well, maybe we should.
No, apparently it's not. It's the happening place. That's where all the people who think Gen G versus FlyQuest is one of the best series ever played is. Like, fuck, you know. Who's their favorite singer of all time? Taylor Swift, you fucking plebs. Anyway, so this is where people who are viewers can ask questions. Now, look, you have to ask a question, subscribe to the LEC Nation Discord. Spoiler, that does cost money. Let me just tag team in Lance Armstrong, which means you need money, you broke bitch. Right? Thanks to that. Now leave. Right? That's what Lance Armstrong says, not me. That was a fictional character that bears no legal resemblance to Lance Armstrong or anyone with the name Lance Armstrong. It was a fictional character I invented, and Yamato told me to do it. So we're going to now do some questions. Again, if you subscribe to LEC Nation Discord, there's a channel. It's called SI-questions, and you can submit them there. Remember the last detail that I always reference. If you don't want us to say your username, put that in the question. Say, like, please don't say my username or whatever, and then we'll just ask the question abstractly. So even though, as usual, which I appreciate, there are loads of questions, so we'll never get through them all. But as usual, the ones that are generic, we'll roll over if we can, and we'll just do a smorgasbord, since he's fucking Swedish. There you go. It's the one time Americans don't know how to say that, and it's a Swedish thing, is it? Smorgasbord or whatever the fuck.
Smorgas.
Fake ass herring shit that you're all pretending to eat. So let's get into it. Oh, and also, by the way, I just realized since the last episode, I did do a hot take point made League of Legends edition. And this time I remembered to do the fan takes. So that one has 2 fan takes. And if you go watch it, one's even a good one. One's a good one. Sadly, one of them broke my heart because it was that Jackie Love is actually one of the biggest international chokers ever. And sadly, I had to agree when I realized it. Like, he actually low-key is, Yamato. It's a bomber. So anyway, that's by the by. That's a separate episode. Go watch that if you want to see that. We will now get into the SI questions. So Sassy says, the all-time greatest episode of Foreplay, which is that movie review show me, Richard Lewis, and Monty do on the LFN Culture Channel, has to be 500 Days of Summer. Because if you don't know Yamato, that's like a movie that all like, I think like millennials and shit thinks like an amazing like romantic comedy. But me and Richard and Monty hate it and think it's absolute trash. And we just destroyed it completely in this episode. And like, so he says, has Yamato ever seen/heard of it? Have you ever seen this film?
Nope.
It's a film that has Joseph Levitt, Gordon-Levitt or whatever. You know, the guy who played Robin in The Dark Knight or whatever. It has him, and then it has that woman called Zoe Deschanel, the one who looks a bit like Katy Perry, if you know what I mean, who's always doing that, like, I think she's called like manic pixie girl energy or whatever the fuck. And put it this way, it's my nightmare fuel as a romantic comedy bit. I hate everything about it. I think it's so bad. But anyway, you haven't seen it, unfortunately. So this guy says, has Thorin had any new thoughts or insights about it since? Not really. I will just say that, like, here's the best thing I could say to make it concise. What I hate about that film is it's actually what I despise about being a teenager, which is when you're a teenager, because you don't know, like, who you are. Spoiler, you shouldn't. Like, you're not old enough to. You haven't had the life experiences. You haven't tried things. But everyone has this desperate feeling that they have to, like, decide, not only decide who they are, but then project it to the world and tell everyone, I'm this person who likes this band and this politician and this thing over here. And you think in doing so that it'll convince you yourself, oh, that's who I am. It's like you're trying to reflect back like a fucking, what do you call it, an affirmation, like your image of who you are to the world. Essentially, what I hate about that era of people's lives, Yamato, and by the way, this manifests in esports, is the things people choose to make their identity usually have nothing to do with them. Like, they'll pick like an esports team, and it's not that they're a fan of Kami Corp. They'll act like they're like Callista's brother or something, the way they talk about him. Like, bro, you're way too you're too parasocial on this one. Like, you're going too far with it. Like, your identity can't be like that Callista's really good at League. That's his identity. You're just a guy watching him do it. Like, what are you good at? What do you represent in the world? So essentially, this film for me is almost tailor-made for teenagers or like kind of loser, depressive nerds who are in their early 20s. It's exactly the sort of fodder of like, oh, dating's hard, isn't it? Oh, fucking hell, things are awkward. Like, it doesn't vibe with me at all. So I would just say, I think I'm completely in the wrong demographic. And I never saw this film until I was in like my 20s, mate. So I feel like maybe if you were 16, this film would be all right, but I hate it. Like, I actually do think, like we said in this review, it's like spiritual poison, mate, because the theme of this, put it this way, I won't give a spoiler just in case you're mad enough that you might watch it. Who knows? Maybe your girlfriend will make you watch it. I don't fucking know. I won't give you a spoiler for now. You might. It's bad though. It's bad. Just don't know. Like,
you can spoil. Who cares, bro?
All right, basically, the spoiler is this: when this guy's relationship doesn't work out, he doesn't like change who he is or like he just sort of like takes it like a cock, and that's like the end of the movie. And even worse, he not only gets wrecked by this girl in love, they do that mega bitch made thing about him. Fucking Lance, get out. I'm doing a show right now anyway, which is the intrusive Lance Armstrong thoughts at all times, which is even worse. When he gets wrecked by this girl at the end, he even does the thing where you meet with her to give her closure that she was doing the right thing by wrecking you, which is like, guys, I'm not claiming to know what your relationship's like. Don't ever do that. For the sake of your own self-esteem, please don't ever do that. Like, if they're done with you, by the way, and they've left you and they're not going to be with you, you go, you know what? Bon voyage. See ya. Hope it was all great. I'm not fucking meeting with you again. I'm not having talks with you. I'm not breaking up. I'm not going to agree that this was the right thing. I'm not going to tell you that whole thing. No, fuck all that noise. Just let him go. Let him go. Let him go. As Lance Armstrong famously says, bitches be crazy. No, whatever. We're just making this the Lance Armstrong episode. It's all good, guys. Anyway, let's get a real question going. That was a bit of an irrelevant one. Big Boy says, what do you think about teleport in pro play? Do you miss the old days of aggressive laning with Ignite, or do you prefer teleport being near mandatory? Because if you don't know, as he references there, it wasn't until like season 4 people had to play teleport top lane Yamato. Sometimes just mid laner played it, or sometimes, as he references there, like my favorite player Flame would always play Ignite, obviously. So what do you think of teleport nowadays in pro play? What are your thoughts?
I think TP just in terms of strategical depth, I think it just adds too much. I think the idea of knowing what vision you need to control, what metrics you need to keep track of, I like the added complexity of it, because I think if in the era of Ignite, because I played, it was, the game was just so insanely snowbally. It's like you would win a fight and then you would get Ignite again, and you would just be in a position where you would almost never you would never lose again. Like back when I was playing, like the matchups you played top was Jax, Irelia, fucking Riven. Like everyone was running Ignite, and it was just a fight to the death, and whoever won would win hard. There was no, semblance of fucking, strategy beyond that. And additionally, the additional layer of frustration came where other elements also impacted you. For top lane in particular, having something that gives you kind of a get out of jail free card in a lot of cases can be super fruitful. I think the changes they made are very good, because now it is more used as a tool for setup, and also the early TPs can't be used like as let's say aggressively and defensively as it was in the past. Because when we think of like let's say Fnatic 2018, it's like Whipple famously always said that my job was to be ready to TP bot. And there were so many fights where like there's a level 4 gank bot, both junglers approaching, and then there's like the Avengers. You just see like 4 TPs landing on bot at the same time, because that was a deciding factor. I think that made it limited. But the current state of it, I think, is better than an Ignite heavy meta, because it would just be win lane, win game. And I think that's not a good place to be. I think it should be win lane, have an advantage coming into the rest of the game rather than the other way around.
I don't have a huge take on this because obviously it's the sort of area of the game I'm not as interested in, but I will just say how it's like affected my viewing experience. So I will say if we were doing like he did, going all the way back to the early days, the problem is this, Yamato, which is I don't hate some of the changes based on how it changed how players already were using the summoner spell, but I do think some of the changes made the game not as good. Like for example, when they took away the early TPs, like one thing I do think about that, which is, if you remember, it used to be like almost no one ran TP in like season 2, season 3. I say it was more like if you were the mid laner, you ran that. When you got to like season 4 and then everyone played the tank's top, that's when the problem was TP became so abusive. Like you remember, the global meta was whoever has TP advantage wins the game. Because if I burn mine early and I fuck it up, remember you could cancel back then. So people did them way more haphazardly. They almost just, back then, the top player for real almost just pressed the button when he was told. He wouldn't like look at the map and say, he'd just go like, yeah, fucking do it now so you can get it going. So if you basically wasted yours, then the other team just had essentially like permanent tempo on you on the map because they could just do a TP and you couldn't. Like they could go bot lane and you couldn't. And then also, especially in season 4 and season 5, bro, people were so abusive with the bot lane TPs. Like you remember it, you just put the brush in, you put the ward in that like second brush bot, and then any time they push the lane up, you can just be behind them. You can have a 3v2 and be behind them. And the worst part about that one as well, by the way, is if you do it properly where it's not warded in that brush for them, they won't even be able to match the TP. You'll just get a 3v2 bot lane with your guy behind them. And remember, because this is the tank era, bro, you might be playing like Dr. Mundo where you're just permanently slowing them as your bot lane kills them. So I do think back then it was way too OP. Like basically it's why if you did have some like godlike shot call, like a fucking Matter or Make or sort of, it was cracked as fuck to have this. Essentially that's why people used to use that joke that Looper was just Matter's third summoner spell. It's like he would just decide to make this guy appear in his lane like some sort of a Yorick ghoul to just attack the enemy. Like it was fucking mental, wasn't it? So there was that. I did think that was too OP. And the reason why also, I'll give you my bias, I think that was OP, is because it made top lane not about what top lane is, which is it's an amazing dual lane, which is about getting strong and holding up in lane and then doing something in team fight. This just made it about being a tool for others to use on the map early in the game. And I do think it went too far. Everyone started doing it. Then also, they had that period where TP just became used for top lanes to just go back to lane without any cost. I also hate that. I mean, you used to play top lane, Yamato. I hate the idea, like, if you don't like snowball, that's the anti-snowball mechanic. Now, even if you push me out of lane, I just TP back after basing. Like, no, back in the day, if I push you out of lane and you can't lane, that's gonna fucking cost you like waves if you go back to the base and base. Like, you're not coming. I think how long it took to walk without boots to the fucking top lane, mate. It takes forever. So I think that made laning like easy mode, like Fisher Price laning. I hated that. So the problem I have is this. I didn't hate them taking out TP early on. I actually thought it made it more pure laning, which I think people want to see. I also think as well, the change I don't like though, mate, is when they removed the ability to cancel. I thought the cancel was a very fair trade-off. Like, the cooldown on it wasn't nothing. You had a cost to pay, but it meant you didn't have to, like, totally commit if it was the wrong play. You could cancel in those last seconds before. I think it made it too black and white what the TP is when you have to just do it and you have no way back. So, it's a bit complicated, this topic, because if you notice, I'm not doing it hard and fast like black and white. It's more like when I saw how people would use it, I either liked or didn't like how they used it. So, League is very different from how it was back in the day. By the way, you'll never have that meta again where it's just people playing Ghost and fucking Ignite top lane. Like, that'll never exist again, those days. But they were interesting at the time. I will say, I do think TP was better a few years ago. I'm not as big a fan of what it is now. It's a very limited spell now. It's not even that interesting. And also, because now you can't cancel, etc. The other thing that it killed a little bit was, I used to think one of the other areas that Asian top teams always stood out compared to the West, as Monty would always tell me, is, bro, the difference between an Asian top laner doing like a fucking Jace or like Rumble flank with TP is levels beyond a Westerner trying it. The Westerner wouldn't even know conceptually how to do it on the map. This is another area where you could see those top Asian teams were just way better. They were demons with those TP flanks, mate. They were really hard to play against. I would say if you were in that era, it's comparable to what Nico was a few years ago, where if you're playing some Asian team, you better know everywhere that Nico can be at all times, or he's going to get fucked up. He's going to do the ult from behind you. Right. Let's do another one. Let's go to... This can be a quick one because I don't really have one for this one. Nixon says, if you had lived in any ancient civilization of your choice, which civilization would that be and what would your occupation be? I will say, we have actually had a question like this many times on this show, but it was often when Monty was here. So I want to see what you would say. What ancient civilization would you like to be a part of? And what occupation would you do?
Oh, I would just either like the Roman Empire or the ancient Greece. I think this has to be like the answer. Like I think like the whole process of like first being a student and being a soldier and then being a philosopher and then being a politician. Like I don't know. I'm fucking up the order, but there was like a clear order of life in that era. And I think that just makes sense in terms of how you transfer wisdom and your knowledge and what you carry over between all the aspects of life. I think that just that era, there seems to be a lot of beauty attached to it that was lost in the in between. So that's what I take myself, because it's like we are still reading some of these fucking philosophers to this day, and a lot of the ideas of democracy and so forth are built upon the foundations of the ideas that were created back then. I would love to do some ergot in a cave and fucking trip out completely with the philosophers, and meet God.
Okay, so that's actually a pretty based answer, because Yamato doesn't just want to be in like he actually wants to go to like the Eleusinian mysteries and fucking take whatever drugs they took, like he's talking about, have the spiritual mystery religion experience. Okay, fair enough. Based, quite a based answer. I don't really have an answer for that one. I often just answer silly things for that one. Stephen says, what's something that can be seen as a throwaway comment that someone in esports said to you that had a profound effect? Can you think of something like that? Has anyone ever said something, just a random comment, but to you it touched real deep or something like that?
It wasn't really throwaway, but like I remember back in 2015, like we had like the fucking analyst desk for Worlds, and I was there with Monty and like Spawn and the host. Why am I blanking on his name? Dash. It was a good squad, and I was like 18, 19 at the time. Like I was a young guy, just I was surrounded by these guys that had like a lot of life experience and work experience in esports. And Monty always told me, he like, not always, but he said we were like outside smoking cigarettes. He had like these fucking thin ones, these fucking goofy ass looking thin cigarettes. We were smoking them. And then he said, Yamato, don't stop coaching. Just keep coaching.
Okay.
And I held on to that for a very, very long time. I held on to. Okay. Now I'm not coaching anymore, but I coached for a very fucking long time.
Okay.
And I held on to that for a very, very long time. It was just like, there, Monty was a cigarette looking cool, He had like suspenders on, and his fucking maroon shirt and his pants with the waist a little bit too far up. And then he just said that at the hotel balcony. We were staying at the Best Western. It was a good time. Next to the IHOP.
Technically, if it wasn't for Monty, we might never have had Carmine Corp. So
yeah, sure.
Whatever. But then again, here's the thing. In some ways, that all comes full circle. Would you be doing something against that if it wasn't for Carmine Cops? In some ways, Monty is a time traveler. He knew that 10 years from that point in time, Yamato, he'd need you to take over doing the show. But if you already had started doing content back then, you might be some Cage-less figure. So he held you back. He restrained your power level by letting you just waste your time coaching, gentleman, for like 5 years. And then eventually, when Monty knew he was ready to just let it go and just go and be a fucking pencil pusher, some corporate sellout bitch. You give us some money for the show. Oh, I'm not on it anymore, but Thorin's still. He calls people bitch and then says Lance Armstrong told him, "Can I have money, please?" It's like, yeah, here's the money. Anyway, that's what he's doing now. All due to him telling you to keep coaching. I agree. If people don't know, the saddest thing of all is, Monty gets this weird rep now of like, he's just an out-of-touch boomer. What you guys will never understand is what Yamato just described there, which is it. The first meeting with Monty in real life is the opposite to what you idiot Zoomers think in Gen Alpha. Bro, this guy came off as one of the most sophisticated, cool people you could ever meet in esports. Like, it's actually one of the things that he actually nailed. Like, bearing in mind at the time, he himself would have only been like 28 or something, Yamato. Like, this guy, first time you meet him, he was a very well put together figure who, like I say, was really sophisticated compared to esports people. He actually came off as very classy. I agree with you. His whole, like, fashion was mega swagged out. He really had a strong sense of who he was. He's the sort of person, put it this way, Monty's the kind of person who could use like a really complicated word, which if someone else did it, like, oh, that's their word of the day they're trying to fit in. Monty just pull it off like that's just some shit he says, So yeah, no, I'm with you. So it's one of those things where I wish modern fans knew what some of the older people were like as well, Like some of you have a really weird perception of them all.
Yeah.
Right. Oh yeah, I can tell you mine, but I'll just make mine quick. Way back in the day, this would actually be like 20 years ago now, mate. I had a top pro in Counter-Strike who was a friend of mine, one of those people you talk to on like MSN Messenger or AOL or whatever back in the day. And one time, as a throwaway comment, I just said something to him like, how are you so consistent in your game? Because he was one of those people. It was a Canadian player who's a French-Canadian Bulgarian immigrant called Steele, not the guy who plays now in iBuyPower back 10 years ago. And they're both Canadians. The problem, they're both called Steele. It was actually a guy from way back, like I said, 20 years ago. And basically, one of the things about his game was he would like never play bad Yamato. He might not always have the best game, but like at minimum, he's always going to play like 7 out of 10. And I remember saying to him, like, how are you so consistent? And he said, thinking it was just like not a big deal, he said, oh, well, you have to understand, the way I practice is I actually think of this as like a craft, and I practice every day to be the best I can. And then his throwaway line was, he said, I'm sure it's the same for you as a journalist, but at the time though, this is like 2004 something, it wasn't. Like back then, I was kind of like I wasn't actually a super diligent guy. I was more the sort of slacker, I'd do some work here, but I'd be chilling, and then I'd go like, off the top of my head, I'll do something like that. But I wasn't very polished, and it actually made me realize, fuck, he's right though, isn't he? Like in the same way as even though he's just playing video games, he's approaching it like a sport. Like, I need to be the best I can. I've got to drill all these things. I've got to live. I realized I should do that as a journalist. I should work on the areas I'm not strong in. I should like mass produce certain amounts of stuff so I get like the skills down and master. And that, even though at the time it was just a little thought that burrows into your head, I did think about that in the years going by. The difference is, I would say, if you go 10 years after that, I almost reversed who I was. Then I was the most diligent person who did all the research and knew all the background and would do the day-to-day stuff. And I'd even say, if you look at my career now, my career isn't just like one cool thing every now and then. It's like I do the daily output. I do like something here and there. And I also try to be like him, have my baseline level be really good. Because if you notice, the difference between someone who's actually securing themselves and someone who's like trying to convince you they're great is the person who's trying to convince you they're great. It's like the Beryl discussion from earlier. They're going off their best day ever, or when things went awesome. No. The truly great person knows they're great because every day they wake up and do it. They put in the work and they do their job and they see what their normal day-to-day levels are. So that for that person, it's not that big a deal if they have one time where they fail because they know what it was like every other day. So I do think that's actually a little piece of wisdom there. Tallahassee Riot Supervisor says, what is your take on the 1 gorilla versus 100 humans hypothetical? Have you seen this?
Yeah.
A big viral thing. What do you think about that? I assume he means who do you think would win? I guess that's what he's asking, right?
I think if it's a realistic scenario, I don't see a world where the gorilla wouldn't be like afraid or intimidated, and I feel like that plays a part. But then it's like the question of the psychology, It's like are like, because some humans need to die in the process of beating this gorilla.
Oh, sure,
And if you take a group of random 100 people, it's kind of like that situation where one guard is keeping track of 100 people because nobody wants to be the first one to get shot, know. But the first 2-3 that take the charge are going to convince everybody else to do so. It's like a psychological phenomenon that the second person that does it will convince the crowd. So it's like those elements at play. I don't know how the fuck that plays out because a gorilla, I was surprised. Gorillas are not so heavy. I thought they would be heavier, but they're quite small. Like I thought they would weigh maybe like 800 kilos, some shit like this. But it's like big gorillas are like 300 at max. So it's like they are heavy fuckers and they could one-shot you. But I think if you just have 100 dudes just like go on top of the gorilla and just fucking are ready to die, then I think 100 dudes win. But let's say I'm controlling the gorilla, I'm microing the gorilla, like I'm like kiting, like punching one and like running back. Then I could beat the 100 men. That's how I view it. So it depends on the angle that you take. Which angle are you taking to it?
I know what you mean, because one thing I also found weird about this topic is how many people just seem to view a gorilla as like some like incredible Hulk character that just wrecks everyone. I'm with you. As far as I know, gorillas are fairly like chill creatures, actually. Their whole shit's sort of like that you wouldn't fuck with them. Like as far as this is why I actually find it weird people picked a gorilla. Bro, I think a better pick would be a chimp. A chimp is fucking brutal, mate. Like if people don't know, if chimps fight you, first of all, their arm strength is insane. They can rip your arms off literally. And this will sound terrible, but I do know this. They also are actually like malicious chimps, by the way. Like when they fuck with you, Yamato, they will do stuff like try and rip your dick off, mate. Like they know how to fucking hurt you, mate. They're not just swinging out there. They're like trying to like bite your asshole and shit. And not in some cool, I'm trying to get in the LTA type of way, whatever. Listen, low-hanging fruit's always going to be my fucking temptation. I'd have been there in the Garden of Eden. Listen, bitch, check this out. I'd give her the apple, whatever. Lance Armstrong again, as he was. Everything comes back to Spirit. This whole episode was brought to you by the words Lance Armstrong and Spirit Blossom and Factor Meals or whatever. Anyway, I would say if we're doing it like they have to fight and that they're all fighting to the death, essentially, I know what you mean, Yamato. The problem is, if the 100 humans acted like ants and all had a hive mind, they'd definitely win. But I know what you mean. My actual theory, this is why it's not actually as stupid a question as people think. I agree with you. That's exactly what I thought. My thought was, guys, you have an equivalent thing to this play out all the time. Think how many times you've seen a protest that's like a peaceful protest, and there's way more protesters than there are cops. But if 10 cops just start beating up a gang of people, you can't beat them because you can't get every other protester to all attack the cops at once. They're not going to do it because, as you say, no one wants to be the first person going in and getting a truncheon to the face or the pepper spray. Now, if you all agreed somehow, like a hive mind, like let's just do it and we'll overwhelm them, like Stalingrad style with the Russians, it would work. You'd overwhelm them. But the real problem is it's really hard to get a bunch of disparate people to agree to all fight for the common good. So you won't really. So I actually think in real life, I imagine the 100 humans wouldn't have as much success as people think. But I think in theory, like you're saying, if everyone fought to their absolute limit with no fear, I think the 100 humans should win. I mean, there's just 100 of them, isn't there? You could hold it down. You could, there's enough people there. The more interesting ones probably if it's like 20 humans against one gorilla. That'd be interesting. It's the way I'm handicapping the fight like I'm Dana White now. Like, that's not a good title fight. We're going to wait for the 20 humans. Give me a break.
Well, I know the hippo. Like a hippo could.
That would fuck you up. Yeah, sure.
A hippo would just. A hippo's too tanky. Like, I don't think humans can do damage to a hippo regardless of what they do.
Exactly. It's like that old school Expected clip. It's too tanky, man. It's too tanky.
Yeah, it's way too tanky.
Reference, by the way. 10 plus years old reference. Right, we'll do a couple more, then we're going to wrap it. Door Hinge, does either of you adhere to any special diets? And what have your experiences been with them? So do you do one now? Have you ever done any special diets? Is that a thing for you?
I have done like a long-term fasting. Like definitely when I want to cut weight in the past, I've done like 1 meal a day type of fasting. But I've never seen the benefit, not the benefit, but the cost benefit analysis for me in terms of like counting all the calories and being like very neurotic about it. Like I don't like going so far. It's like usually for me, it's like, oh, I try to not drink fucking sugary drinks and try to stay away from fucking things that are unhealthy. And then if I do eat something, maybe I eat less carbs for the meal and I kind of create a balance throughout the week. But fasting is my go-to if I'm feeling too fat. That was this one time, right? After Korea, when I coached in Korea, and then we came home, had Christmas with my like Russian relatives, and we're just eating and drinking, and everyone has a birthday too, and it's just going too crazy. I weighed 120 kilos at one point, and this was right before I joined Fnatic, right? So I weighed 120 kilos. The way I noticed was that my thighs, bro, I was walking and I hear a but my thighs.
They get sore as fuck, don't they? I bet they get sore as fuck.
Bro, now you know this fucking the swooshing sound, the fucking suit that George bought on a fucking unannounced sale. You know, that was me, you know, and I was like, fuck me. So I just changed my diet. I ate 1 meal a day. I only drank water and tea, and then in the span of 2-3 months, I legit lost 25 kilos. And this is, of course, with the added stress of being in Fnatic and coaching and working 12 hours a day. That also burns a lot of calories. So that was my go-to diet for sure.
I will just say, I've tried a bunch over the years, but like just the classic 1 calorie restriction where you count the calories and you keep under. I will say, I actually think that is one of the hardest diets to do. It's just pure calorie restriction. Because if you don't do it with a system, like you don't eat certain food types, and especially by the way, if you don't stay away from, for example, like insulin spiking foods or sugary foods, just your appetite alone is going to fuck with you. And the worst feeling in the world is when you have to mentally tell yourself, like, I want to eat, but I shouldn't. Like, who wants to be in that world? So even though I did that and it worked, it's really hard because it's just the mental struggle. The reason why I won't say I do it now because I'm not in the best shape right now, but off and on, I like to do the keto diet because I just personally find, like, even though I do love sweet stuff, that's my problem, Yamato. Look, I won't say I'm really like this because obviously people who are heroin addicts have an actual physical addiction, but I find it really hard to have just a small amount of sugar. If I have a small amount, I'm going to want a medium amount. It's like drinking drinks and going, I'll just have 2 drinks. The problem is the guy who says I want 2 drinks, after the second drink goes, well, a couple more won't hurt. And then he goes, well, 1 more for the road. And then suddenly you have 9 drinks. Like, it's like the worst thing about it is the feeling that you let yourself down gradually. You didn't even just, like if you'd have gone to the bar in that analogy and gone, fuck it, just have 9 beers, you'd feel less guilty, wouldn't you? Same exact effect, but you wouldn't feel the guilt and the shame. So I think the calorie restriction is really hard. So I like the keto one because I do find when I eat that diet, 1, I find it really good for my energy levels. I find it makes them really consistent. I don't get like a spike. 2, meat is really delicious. You can find all sorts of sauces and things to go with it that make it delicious to eat. Yeah. And then also, I just find if I eat no sugar at all, I get all the cravings go away for me, mate. It actually gets really easy to just enjoy the steaks and get my energy from that. So personally, I enjoy keto diet, but it's not for everyone. Again, figure out if it's for you, try it. And also, like everything, by the way, the first time you do any of these, it's like doing weightlifting. When you start weightlifting, it's more just going to the gym's your main goal. It takes time to learn the technique and what sets to do and when should I put the weight up. So similarly with the diet, I don't think you'll nail it in one go. You have to sort of try it out and then level up as you go. You're not going to immediately know if something's good or not. We'll do 2 more and then I'm going to wrap. So Popgroff says, for Thorin, what do you think of the Minnesota Timberwolves, this team? Okay, so I assume, even though you asked this last week, they've actually just won the playoff series against the Lakers, so it's actually good timing to talk about them. I mean, I think they're a pretty good team. I actually personally thought they were going to beat the Lakers anyway. I told people I didn't think the Lakers were going to go far this split. The thing I like about their team is I actually think across the board, they're a well-GM team. Like, I think Rudy Gobert is a fucking banging defensive player. I think Anthony Edwards is a really good offensive player. He's a bit young still, but I love his swag. He's got the like sort of killer instinct. He's got a good mid-range game too. He's definitely worked on his 3-ball. So I think they're a pretty good team. Here's the thing. I don't think they're going to like be in the finals or win the NBA, but I think they'll probably, again, they'll have a chance to go to the conference finals. They'll definitely have a very good chance in the second round, and they're just a fun team to watch. I like them. They're not the best team, but I think they're pretty good. I actually think Karl Anthony Towns fucked up by leaving that team. The last question will be one you can answer now. So Spookin says, this is actually good topical in light of the thing we discussed earlier. Are there any historical best of 3 matches you wish had been best of 5? What do you think of that? Is there a match you can think of you wish that could have been extended?
Oh, fuck. Now I wish that I remembered them from like old worlds that had fucking best of 3s. Well, like, and also like some playoff series. Shit, man. This is the question for the fucking historian himself, because I think if I sat down and scrolled through, I would find like a lot of ones because the formats were just so fucking different back then.
I'll give you an obvious one because you'll remember this one too. Remember the first time Cloud9 and Fnatic met in that best of 3, and it was like who picked Cassidy and won the series. Bro, who the fuck wouldn't have loaded that up for Game 4 and Game 5? At the time, those were the top 2 teams. Like, everyone wanted to see that match. And unfortunately, because it was a BO3 and because it was like Cassidy was OP, it kind of made everyone feel like you got shortchanged. You know, I think everyone wanted that to be a BO5. It was a World's quarterfinals, for fuck's sake.
Oh,
I'll put that one in the mix. There's one.
Yeah, bro. I would have to like pull it up. Oh, we had the fucking quarterfinal. Yeah, the C9 Fnatic one is crazy,
just
man.
Just a human like Joe Rogan. I have my own Jamie in my own brain that pulls things up.
Oh, you just pre-read the questions. Here's
the thing: if I was a liar, I would say I do. No, I don't. I genuinely don't. I don't. But then again,
no,
at the same time, I not only have a Jamie, I also have a Lance Armstrong in the back there, lurking, ready to say his evil shit anytime he feels.
It's my co-host is schizophrenic. It's fucking lovely.
That's how it goes, mate. It's just how it be going.
Nice.
Let me think. What else could I pick for this? Oh, the other one would be way back in the day when the legendary Gambit beat those Korean teams 2-0. Let's have that be a BO5, mate. Let's see the full series. Let's load up Game 3. Because that's something that's one of the most incredible upsets I've ever seen, where they actually clapped the fucking Azubu teams. Like, see ya. And by the way, those were the glory days where a bunch of Russians just rock up and just fucking start popping off in the game doing shit no one's seen before. Glorious. Right, I'll tell you another one I've just remembered. Definitely, I need to see more games from, since I said Moscow 5, the Moscow 5 TPA, that should have been a best of 5. That BO3. Here's the thing, if TPA beats them in the best of 5, Yamato, hands up, you win, you deserve it. But that BO3 will always, If you don't know, that supposedly is a real story. That in the team they were like, shouldn't we just ban that guy's in Italy? And then they were like, no, I can deal with it. Like, you know, the dreaded last words in draft. Like, and obviously, I wish I could go back in time and tell them, just fucking ban it, or just play game 4. You know, play game 4 too. Could do that too. Because I still think Moscow 5 should have won that Worlds, mate. They should have.
It's also like fucking CLGU versus WE, the same worlds.
That was a good one too.
Split up. Like WE with the fucking pause and
The
whatever.
joke with that one is, in some ways, that one was a best of 5 Yamato. It's just officially, it's just recorded as best of 6 because they played about fucking 5 games in that one, didn't they? It was ridiculous. Like, I think both teams won like a bunch of early games. They just kept resetting the game. And also, you know, it was actually Monty that revealed the story many years later. You might not know this, Yamato. Do you know the story as to why that game was delayed and had to keep being replayed?
What happened?
So people might remember it was like they had internet issues, right? It's worse. Supposedly it's something stupid, Yamato, like that they had like a stage that could move or something. And when it moved, it just like knocked a wire out, like an internet wire, and they didn't know at the time or something. Something insane like that. Something actually stupid as fuck like that. I know, like actually some like clown level shit. Also, by the way, I do appreciate, I didn't actually know this about you, Yamato. You do actually, even though it's a really dated reference and no Zoomer knows what you're talking about, I appreciate that your go-to references are always Seinfeld from the 90s.
No, of course.
Yeah.
You
I
said
like
you
that.
love Seinfeld. I love Seinfeld too, so I'm
It's my shit.
this
Do
is
love,
how we
do love me
connect,
some
bro.
Seinfeld. Yeah, do love some Seinfeld. And, spoiler, my favourite thing about Seinfeld is just George Costanza doing schemes. Anytime he's just up to some shit. Like that one where he has to, like, to get welfare, he has to lie and say he had, like, a job interview at like Vandal Industries or whatever for like latex salesman. And you know the one where like he goes to Jerry's apartment, he tells him, look, if anyone calls, please just say Vandal Industries. So of course when the woman calls is when like he's in the toilet and Jerry's busy and Kramer just answers like, hey, hello, and they're going, say Vandal, and he's like, Vandal, no, this isn't a company, this is someone's apartment. And I hands the phone up. You remember the one where he runs out, he's all like
with underwear.
Look that one up, guys. There are some bangers Seinfeld. And also, here's why I'm going to convert all of you to Seinfeld. Because it's not a series with a storyline. You don't have to watch like from the beginning. Just go on like IMDb or something, look up the best rated episode and just watch that. And if you like it, you like it. If you don't worry about it. So it's also the easiest show to dip into ever. It's not a thing with big arching storylines. Each episode basically is its own story. So it's actually a really easy show to dip into and just watch the best ones. So we'll leave it there. Thank you to everyone who asked questions. If you want to ask questions, subscribe to Last Free Nation Discord. Go to the SI questions. As I said, you can also there, if you subscribe, ask hot takes for the League of Legends hot take point made and the CS one and the 4 Horsemen, which will be coming again. And we'll see you on the next episode of Summoning Insight to talk about Invictus Gaming and Seinfeld.